What's going on, guys?
KingSithis is now live streaming World of Warcraft, Debate and Ancap live.
That was a lot more complicated than it looked. How you guys all doing? Good? Alright, let's create a room. All right.
Introducing the KingSithis.
Hey, Jinx.
In Discord.
How are you, man?
Not bad, not bad. And yourself?
I'm doing very good.
Right on, right on. So you streaming?
Oh yeah, just got on. I just set up the room, like right now, and yeah, let's see how it goes. Let's see if people pop in and debate me. And I'm also playing World of Warcraft.
Private server or?
Yes, Turtle WoW. I've been
using
really.
Carbonite?
Say that again?
Using Carbon?
What's that?
Carbon. It's an add-on.
Oh, no, I don't think I've heard of that one.
I think it's called Carbonite. Fuck, it's been a while.
Carbonite. I feel like I've heard of that one. What does it do?
Fucking everything's.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, right now I'm on the 1.112 client. Turtle WoW is on the classic 1.112 client. Or 1.12 client, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And they have this all-in-one add-on basically that's called PF Quest. PF or Shagoo Tweaks. That's what they call it. And it kind of like has a whole bunch of stuff in it. And then there's like PF Quest. It shows the quests. And yeah. They also got us a dungeon finder for you, which I think is pretty cool, but it doesn't teleport you to the...
Oh.
It doesn't teleport you to the
dungeon. When Turtle WoW first came out, it was doing that.
Yeah, I think they may have taken that out.
Backward.
They still have it. It sets the team up with you, but you gotta walk to the dungeon. And they say the reason why they did that was, to make it more like classic, because back in the classic days, they didn't teleport you.
Yeah.
You had to go there yourself.
You gotta sit and wait. Hit that level 15 and then grind.
So I'm gonna find myself a group. I'm literally level 58. Have you played classic before?
Yes. Like I said, hit level 15 and then grind.
Yeah. I have not reached level 60 on any of my characters yet. So
what are you playing as?
I'm playing a warrior.
Ooh. Yeah, you have that personality.
I think warriors are pretty cool. That's pretty much the main reason why I picked them.
Fast. Are you DPS or tank?
DPS. I don't know how to tank or do that yet. I'm kind of new to all this.
Okay, yeah. Pulling and stuff can piss off a lot of people. All you need is a good healer, though. Well.
And they say the warrior is really good in classic. Well, not for leveling, but end game. The thing about Turtle WoW is they made the characters, the skills, like, equal to each other. They balance them,
Yep. What are your other goddamn skills? Are you doing blacksmithing, forging, fucking mining, leatherworking?
I have not done any of that yet.
Holy shit! What?
No. I know.
Damn.
I'm probably behind, aren't I?
No, it's just it's a good way to make money and stuff. But if you're just power leveling all the way to fucking 60, that's it's everyone has their own ways to do things, and if you're wanting to make money, like with a warrior class, mining and blacksmithing is a good route because then you can make your armor and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And you can also make some money.
I didn't really know about that until like way into my character making my character. So I was like, oh well, too late now. You know what I mean?
If you're doing just are you questing a lot or are you just dungeons?
I guess a little of both. I'm mostly doing quests, but then whenever a dungeon pops up, I do it. You know what I mean?
See, if you're doing quests and stuff like that, it's good to get those skills. Like, I'd go and lock them right now, because, like, it's worth it. Because as you're questing, you're going to run past your resources and stuff, and you're going to make a lot of money from that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not a crazy amount, because you're just running past it, but it's always good to just pick that up on the way.
Oh, excuse me. Have you ever played Turtle WoW?
Yes.
Love that turtle. You like it?
I stopped a long while back, fuck. How long has it been out now? 2 years, 3 years?
They've added a lot of new good shit, man. They've added some... They're coming out with a new update. They came out with a trailer for their new update, and it looks pretty good. Can't wait.
They came up with a trailer?
Yeah. Yeah, they have a YouTube channel and all that.
Aren't they running kind of illegally?
Well, yeah, but... They run it in a place where they can't get shut down. Like, they run it in it's like somewhere in Europe where they don't really care that much about, like, IP or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's yeah, no, I don't have enough. When I'm on Discord, I like to be moving around and stuff and doing shit. And I can't sit down and game anymore. It's been a long time. Like, I'm either committed to it, like in the wintertime, yeah, I can commit to a game every now and then, but as soon as I get busy or have something in real life happen, I'm like, gone. And then I get behind. I'm like, fuck this, everyone's ahead.
Yeah. I just enjoy the leveling process of classic WoW. You know what I mean? And when I'm debating people or talking to people, I like kind of doing it in the background, you know?
Yeah. Keeps your mind sharp. Mm-hmm. Eventually you'll get sick of you'll get to know the starting places pretty quickly.
Hello.
Yeah.
Have you played any other characters?
Huh?
Have you played any other characters?
Oh yeah, I got like a paladin and some other characters.
Oh, Fluff. What race is your paladin?
Blood or high elf. There we go.
Ooh, nice.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorite was druid. What the fuck is an Oak Bluff there? Was it a druid? I think they gave me a druid. Fuck. I don't know if that was an expansion or not. God damn. Been a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Classic WoW. This game runs so well though, despite the fact that I'm live streaming and all that.
Well, it's fucking. When WoW came out, 1990s, 98. Like fuck. When did it come out?
No, it came out in 2004.
What? I thought it was in the 90s.
I mean, they had Warcraft in the 90s, but it wasn't the MMO.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Is that an EPAC member? Solid Snake. What's going on, man?
Yeah, Colonel.
And you got the deep voice and everything too, man. I wish I had a deep voice.
Yeah, Colonel. I just found myself here.
Snake! Snake!
Guilty.
Bro, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, I played that game when I was a kid, and I loved that game so much. I was like, oh my god, this game is so awesome. I love that, like, you could put, like, camouflage and, like, hide in the bushes.
Crash Bandicoot.
And then, like, shoot people.
Yeah, it was the only game where I could wear blackface and not be called racist.
Yeah, back in the good old days.
Ugh.
So, do you know what an Ancap is?
No.
No. So, do you play World of Warcraft or?
Yeah. No. I don't play those games.
You should, bro. It's pretty epic. Love World of Warcraft. In fact, I'm playing it right now.
Which
Back-
server?
I'm playing on Turtle WoW. The best World of Warcraft. Oh, he left.
Sure did. He did.
Yeah. The one thing that the reason why I don't really play Classic WoW is I feel like is because it's gonna turn to TBC eventually, and I don't really want to play TBC. I just want to play Classic. Or Wrath of the Lich King. You know what I mean?
Wrath of the.
Shut up.
That's where it all went downhill.
Wrath of the Lich King. After that,
After it just kind of went downhill.
yeah, Cataclysm.
There's a lot of
This wasn't it.
yeah. There's so many like, it's hard to like say a game goes downhill, especially when like there's so many other like stimulants like from other games that are happening, and also the people that love those games and pay attention to it starting to have families and shit because they're like fucking 30, 25 years old. And
Yeah,
so, like,
they
you
moved
see the
on.
population. Yeah, you see the stats drop, and you're like, "Oh, well, it must have sucked then." It's like, well, not really. Like, they just couldn't dive right into it.
Backup seal valve.
Wait, what kind of currency are you backing for Ancap Society?
We would have a free banking system, so whatever one is. the
Have you
best.
tanked on Turtle?
Like, well, what
Have
kind
you
of, like,
seen Shaman
what's it
tanks?
backed by?
I am waiting for Epic.
I mean, depends on what the bank backs it, how the bank backs it. So there would be multiple different banks, and then those different banks would have, back their currency in different ways. There would be some that does gold, crypto, silver, and then you could choose which bank you want. Have I
Okay,
tried?
you're starting with-
Have you tried to tank on Turtle? Have you seen Shaman tanks waiting for Epoch?
Do it.
No,
to
I
tank.
have not tanked on Turtle. Sorry, I'm reading chat, right, man.
Try it. Do tank.
You tank? I don't know how to tank.
Try it. Just run around and get everything pulled on you. Macro. Or aggro on you.
Yeah, but don't you gotta what you call it?
If you have a good
Get
enough
threat.
healer, you'll
I
be
don't know how
good.
to do that.
Yeah. Just fucking toss some fists out there.
Wait, shamans could tank?
No. Like, if you have a good enough healer, maybe, but not really. Warriors can. Warriors.
Well, I mean, I don't
Warriors
know.
and
Maybe
Paladin.
Turtle WoW kind of changed it.
Ooh.
In Season of Discovery, Warlocks could tank, which is pretty weird.
Like, if you realistically, if you have a good enough healer, or multiple, like anyone can tank. But you would piss off your group if you didn't have enough threat and you'd aggro a bunch, and then they go and fucking start attacking your DPS.
I would need one of those threat meters, right?
Here, I'll see if I do believe.
Now, Turtle WoW has a website of add-ons that you gotta go specifically on.
I know. But this is like. Yeah, Turtle Wiki.
Tang it rail. What's up, man?
Oh, nothing. Just trying to find some interesting conversation.
Here, check out
All
your
right.
DM there, King.
I gotcha.
Who's the Ancap in here?
Me.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Oh, really? Carbonite. No,
Yeah,
not you. Sorry.
It will help you out.
Comprehensive add-on that adds map, quest, waypoints, and social feeders.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's
yeah, I'll
using
check that out.
Ancap.
I'll check that out. And I'll check that out. Thank you for sending me that.
It's really good. Definitely use it. Like I don't play ever without it. But yeah,
So
you suck
tang
for
it.
being an Ancap.
I'm an Ancap. I'm the Ancap. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's are you actually debating Ancap ideas?
Well, yeah,
He does.
I do.
I meant currently.
Yeah, right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Where did I jump in at?
Oh, we're not debating. We were
Well-
just talking about World of Warcraft. Me and him. I mean,
Yeah.
you can start
I'll let
wherever you
guys-
want.
I'll let you guys talk there. I'll just kind of be a peanut gallery over here.
Oh no, it'll be a pretty lame conversation. We mostly agree. So there's
What?
not probably gonna be a whole lot of friction between the two of us. I'm just more cynical than most of the traditional ANCAP ideologues.
What's your favorite?
Well,
Do you have any
Silver?
favorite ANCAP guys that you like, or?
I guess would you call Lysander Spooner to be an ANCAP?
I don't know too much. You know that's crazy because I literally just finished reading his book, No Treason. Now
Okay.
I would say that he is an anarchist, but I'm not sure if I would call him an anarcho-capitalist.
Okay.
I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but definitely an anarchist.
Okay.
And his book was good.
Well,
No Treason.
I can't. Yeah, No Treason. It's fantastic. I listened to it when I'm on long drives, which is a lot of the time.
Yeah, I listened to it on an audiobook too.
Yeah, I do. Like, I am pretty cynical about the idea, and that I do think that what ultimately happens in all these societies is that we end up towards some form of like feudalism, where the like all the resources end up in the hands of a few, and so I think that it's excellent. Like, the ideology of it is wonderful, but I think the execution of it always ends at some point catastrophically, just like the other extreme.
Well, if you have a free market, you wouldn't really expect large corporations like you do now. The reason why that is because you would have open competition, which would basically make it so that anytime that any company or private company sees that another company is making a lot of profit in a certain area, or a certain firm is making a lot of profit, what they'll do is they will go in and provide the same service and compete with them and then basically undercut their product, the prices, and then because there would be competition, it's like water seeking its own level. But the reason why you see large corporations, like as we see them now, is because they have regulations, patent laws, licensing laws, zoning laws, all of these are tons of different laws that basically make it illegal for you to start your own business, or make it extremely costly to start your own business. So that basically makes it so that the only people who are able to start a business or compete in that are people who have like a lot of money. So that then limits the amount of people who can't compete to very few people. That's why then, like you see in very heavily regulated industries, you see very few companies, because it's very expensive to get into that industry, thus lowering the amount of competition.
Well, yeah, and that's
You
that's
realize
where
business
largely
loans exist, right?
I think that, of course, as a feature of
Yes.
the capitalistic structure, once I think that competition oftentimes it's for the super powerful and the wealthy always experience lots of wealth and power. It becomes more of a, I should say, like a technical issue of how to circumvent competition. And so ultimately what you end up with is you end up with monopolies by competition. Certain businesses, like you couldn't realistically compete with Walmart. aside from the laws, aside from all the regulations, aside from the red tape, this is to give you a more low to the ground example. I used to work for a restoration company, and it was a guy who it was a small business, and when he got into the territory of a larger restoration company, that guy did contracts like for basic stuff like mitigation and stuff for free because he had years of capital to burn through, and so ultimately they went out of business because they couldn't get any business. So you know there are technical ways where you can outcompete based on how big you get, and I think that over time that kind of stuff just tends to happen. And then of course I can't go into this because I was interesting thing happened to me at work where I can't actually work, so now I'm just here. But now I actually they found something for me to do. So if I get time, I'll come back. But I'll let you have the final thought, and then I'll have to dip.
Narcotic.
Yeah. So there's no such thing as a
quick?
natural monopoly. The only time in which a monopoly can be created is if there's some sort of restriction to the creation of new competition in the market. In a free market, you wouldn't, like I said, you wouldn't expect to see large businesses like Walmart because every single time it buys out its competition, it creates more of an incentive to go into that industry because you've basically lowered the competition, thus creating a higher likelihood of gaining profit from joining into that industry, which then incentivizes more people to join in. And because there would be, in a free market, there would be no restriction in creating goods and services that to compete within that industry, you will see those businesses popping up. And anytime that Walmart buys out or that business or takes out one, it'll incentivize another business to basically pop up, and it'll basically go up again and again and again until Walmart basically loses money, collapses, and then eventually what you'll see is even more competition come in after Walmart eventually fails because of all that competition. But again, what you see we don't really live under a free market. We live under a socialist, half capitalist market where the market is basically partially free, but it has a lot of controls and regulations by the state. So because of that, it makes it much more costly to start up your own grocery store than it would be otherwise.
Drug
Okay,
cartels.
just meat on that bone, and if you're still around, we can pick up. I'm gonna go see what they want me to do for work.
Oh, no.
I'll answer you guys.
So drug cartels and narco organizations are actually free market. They're one of the only free markets there is, and they have really big competition against one another. The cartels now, they have a lot of regulation that they're beating, but they have the freedom to find ways to beat it. Now they come to a point where they lower the prices to compete against the other cartels, but they come to that point where it's so low that they start to lose money. So at that point, they have to start to take out the other cartels, and that's where it kind of gets life and death there. And you'll see that happening in an Ancap kind of society with that free market, because if you're competing against one another, eventually you get to the same kind of point, and one's going to eat and one's going to starve.
That and dog rape.
Oh, not you. You're just like obsessed with that topic, bro.
God,
Cartels
it's been
did kind of highlight that.
It's been a year since that happened.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I feel like every time you come in here, you always bring that up.
Because it's funny as fuck.
I know it's funny, but it's like it's the same thing again and again. Oh, he left. I was hoping to respond to what he said. Whatever. Alright, they all left. Alright. Alright, I'm turning chat back on so your voices will be heard. Turtle, wow. All right. Ancient dirt mount. I'm gonna have to fight these fucking guys. Damn it. Whatever. The jagged aisles. Where am I? Oh, bro, I'm gonna have to walk. Oh my god. Well, that's just great. At least I got that quest done. So, something. Chillwind armor. Oh shit! I know where that is. Oh, and I got a couple quests there I can do. Oh, and I got a dungeon. Very, very good. Strat UD. All right, on my way. I know where that is. I'm sure it won't take me too long to get there. What's going on, Ride for Life?
Not much. I'm here to ask what an Ancap is.
An Ancap is a anarcho-capitalist. Anarchy is no state or without rulers. Capitalism is free exchange of goods and services between private property owners.
So you believe in anarchy and capitalism?
Mm-hmm.
And we're live. That means we're on Discord or something, I assume.
No, I'm on YouTube, Kick, Twitch, and TikTok.
And how many viewers do you have?
I don't know.
Like, is it 10 or is it 10,000?
Probably like less than 10.
Okay. In that case, I'm down.
All right. What are you down?
If there's
about?
10,000, I'm out.
Well, no,
Well,
I'm not that popular.
You think that anarchy is? It sounds like you think that like anarchy capitalism is the way to go.
Hell yeah. Oh, anarcho-capitalism. But yeah.
What makes you think that people would be honest in an anarchist capitalist society?
Well, they would be incentivized to. Like,
don't you think that examples through history and through the current day indicate that in an anarchist, like with no rules to follow, people would be incredibly corrupt?
It's not that we don't believe in rules. What we don't believe in is rulers, as in we don't believe that people have the right to coerce individuals without their consent. So, anarcho-capitalism is an ideology of individuals who believe that that no one has the right to initiate an aggression against any innocent person for any reason. And the reason why we're against the state is because the state forcefully extracts our wealth through taxation. And that's why we believe it should be abolished. That's the state is the very thing that you're worried about.
I agree with that stance. I agree with the thing you represent. I guess where I start to disagree is if you don't have a state to enforce the rules, what happens when people break the rules?
Oh, well, we would
you don't have a police force.
We would have competing private security firms whose job it is to basically keep you safe. They would be basically insurance, kind of similar to insurance agencies. So whenever you break your car or somebody crashes into your car, you get your insurance information. And then what they'll do is they'll replace the damaged good or give you money in order to replace what was damaged. It'll work sort of similarly to, that, but with your life and your other property. So if somebody were to come and attack you, they would basically find that person and track them down and have them pay you some sort of restitution for the crime that was being committed, or they'll pay you for the crime that was committed, and you pay them a certain amount of money each month in order to pay for that protection.
How do you think that that's significantly different than the system that we currently have?
Well, with the state, you're forced to pay whether you want the service or not. Whereas this, you don't have to pay if you don't want it. You could not pay for it and
So
get a gun
if
and
you
protect
don't have,
yourself.
if you don't have to pay if you don't want it,
Mhm.
why would anybody pay for things like roads?
Well, because they want to get places.
Wouldn't everybody say I don't want it and let everybody else pay for the roads?
Well, what will most likely happen is that I'm assuming you would expect to see a incentive to get from point A to point B. So what you would
Yes.
expect is individuals who want to profit off of that incentive will buy a strip of land and charge people a portion, like some money, to use that road to get from point A to point B, or they can let people use the road, but have maybe like advertisements, billboards, gas stations, stores along the side of these roads.
What's to
Good.
stop somebody though from saying this road between New Jersey and New York, very valuable road, a lot of people travel on it.
Mhm.
You now have to pay $1,000 a day to travel on this road.
Well, what would happen is they would lose out on a lot of customers because most people don't have $1,000 to pay to drive on a road. And because there would be no state restrictions stopping you, like zoning laws or anything, from, competing with that other business, and the incentive and the profit to be made would still be there, which you would see as some other company prop up and take advantage of the fact that that company is
So
being greedy.
you're saying somebody would build another road and then charge
Yeah,
less
I would
money?
expect actually there to be multiple
Do you-
roads already there.
Do you not think that encourages something that...
I think that's
Are you
good.
familiar with the, are you
Competition.
familiar with the game Monopoly?
There's only there's no such thing as a natural monopoly. Monopolies only
No,
arise
the
under a
board game. I'm asking if you're familiar with the board game Monopoly.
Yes.
So the board game Monopoly was originally built as an example of how unfair it is, how unfair capitalism is. Because if you give somebody a very small amount of an advantage at the beginning of the game, they will win. And so do you not think that sort of same concept will apply, where a small number of people will acquire a large number of the resources and they will make it functionally impossible for anybody else to acquire resources and therefore become monarchs effectively?
No, because the world is not a board game of Monopoly. And the
But
reason
do
why
you-
that
are
is,
you not
and the reason why that
concerned
is,
about that dynamic?
I am concerned, but I
Mon-
wouldn't.
Mono-
I'm
Monopoly
concerned about it
isn't-
now because under a status system, but under a free market capitalist system, you wouldn't expect any natural monopoly to occur because there's no such thing as a natural monopoly.
You would absolutely.
The only time you see monopolies is
first
under a status
person-
system. If you don't believe so, then I would like you to name me one natural monopoly that didn't come through state without the state's help in any way.
I think that's like a false dichotomy. You're saying that like I have to point out a monopoly that didn't get there without state assistance. but
Well,
all
you said that
monopolies
there would be natural monopolies,
did.
and I'm saying
think
that
there would
natural
be.
monopolies don't exist, and you're saying that they do exist or they will exist. So I'm just asking
Yeah.
you to give me an example of one because I've never seen one.
Well, yeah, but you're saying I've never seen one as if they wouldn't have existed with it.
Well, they don't exist.
Inevitably, the monopolies are going to influence the government because they're the ones that have the power. They're the ones
Yeah,
that have
but
the money.
we're
which
without
money-
a state. We're not going to have a state. So how are they going to manipulate? Who are they going to manipulate?
Who enforces the rules?
It would be competing private security agencies. The state,
So
there
as
would
soon
be
as
no
one,
state.
as soon as one of them got bigger, they would effectively be the state.
Yeah,
right?
but the problem is they would control because there's multiple competing private security agencies as opposed to one private security agency and not a monopoly like the state is. What you would see is if one decides to take over and harm a whole bunch of people, all the other private security agencies in that area will see a profit in taking them down because the people who are under their watch are paying them to protect them. And
But
if there comes in a situation where one of them groups up and decides to attack the other, what I would expect is the ones that are that want to make money and want to make profit would group together and take that one down. Kind of like, you know,
you're kind of assuming an equilibrium, but what I think is much more likely is Walmart happens, right?
Well, give me
Like,
could you give me an example of a natural monopoly?
Why don't all the small businesses team up and take down Walmart?
Well, because we have regulations, we have licensing laws.
You think it's not because Walmart can offer cheaper prices?
Well, they can offer cheaper prices because they can take advantage of economies of scale.
I feel like
and
they
have a large.
When you say that Walmart,
hold on, do you want to hear the
scale.
answer, or do you want to just keep talking?
Okay.
See you around.
Sorry.
Okay, so what you would see with Walmart, right, is they take the reason why they can be big and take out their competitors is because the state can use the power of the state to take out their competitors or make it really hard for competitors to arise by using licensing laws, zoning laws, regulations, minimum wage laws, and a whole bunch of other laws that make it add costs to starting a business that could compete with them. So if you don't have those regulations and laws, you wouldn't expect large companies to grow large like Walmart at all, because as soon as you see one company making a lot of profit, other companies will then pop up in order to take advantage of that fact, because companies want to make a profit. And you know, it'll be like the water seeking its own level. As more companies go in, the profit will go down and the price will go down. But it doesn't. The state does not allow that natural process to happen.
I think that where we disagree is I don't think that there would be an equilibrium that was found with the water level. I think that one company would gain a slight advantage, and then they would be able to leverage that slight advantage to drive everybody else out of business, and you end up with Walmart with no regulation at all.
How can you drive somebody out of business when selling the product in which you're selling makes profit? How could you do that without a state?
If you're selling 100 a year and I'm selling 10,000 a year, then I can sell at a much lower profit margin. So I can drive you out of business by selling things cheaper than you can, because I can gain volume.
Yes, but that assumes that there aren't other companies that won't pop up as soon as that one fails. And if you're making a lot of profit from selling that good or service,
but the one that fails isn't causing the problem. It's the one that succeeds that causes the problem.
Oh yes, but companies that eventually grow large to the point when companies grow like large to a point where they're making like a lot of profit, what you will see is other companies coming in to try to replicate that the way in which they're making profit, because they want to also make profit. So as that company makes more profit at selling at a lower price, that will then incentivize more companies to pop up and compete with them. But as we see it now, the state basically makes it illegal for companies to compete with a lot of these established companies by creating arbitrary zoning laws, regulation laws, you know.
See you later.
But
like all the laws you mentioned earlier.
In your scenario where there is no laws, what makes you think you're going to be able to stop those people who gain a little bit of edge and then they twist it in favor? What stops them?
Well, I told you earlier.
I
explained you earlier. I don't know if you were listening, so I'll catch you up to the conversation now.
You don't gotta be condescending about it.
So what I was saying was that when a company makes a lot of profit, right, what you will see is other companies will see that they're making a lot of profit, and then they will try to replicate that money, making that money by selling the same product. And as they make more and more profit, you will see that will incentivize more and more companies to come in and replicate that product.
I think that's
so you
where
wouldn't
we differ.
see. Well, I mean, then you would have to give me an example of a natural monopoly, because I could give you many examples of companies competing with each other.
A natural monopoly is Walmart.
And how is you don't
and
think
Amazon?
That the state doesn't help Walmart?
No, I'm saying that they do, but I'm saying that the
so
state
then they're not
is
a natural
inevitably.
monopoly.
No, but the state isn't inevitably going to help Walmart because Walmart will become the center of control.
Yeah,
because
that's why I
where the
believe we
money
should
is.
abolish the state, because whenever you have a situation
But
where you have a group of people who have ultimate power over
So
people, and they can
the thing
extract
that
wealth from people,
the thing
you can
that I
have people
disagree-
within the free market can take advantage and bribe those people to use that power to then steal money or put in
But,
laws to
yeah, no,
better
I
favor
understand.
them, and then they use that
I
money to
I
put it
hear
in their
you,
own
and you're
pocket.
correct. You're correct.
Mhm.
But when you abolish the system of election, like basically the democratic government that we have, you create a void of power, a vacuum of power. And people like the people who own Walmart will inevitably end up occupying that vacuum of power. And like your idealized version of there's no corporations to take advantage of us will never actually happen because
I never said that.
the corporations will still do the same things but just with unchecked power.
I never.
Because
whoa,
we've
whoa, 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 whoa.
eliminated
You're
the
kind of
democracy.
misinterpreting what I said. There is
Okay.
It's not going to be unchecked because there would be competition in the market, right? Whenever you have competition, you can't just charge whatever you want and do whatever you want. You have to make sure
But
that
as soon
you are
as- as soon
providing
as
a
you
good
have a
service for
s-
the people who are paying
Is-
you.
Yeah, I agree. You're sort of describing the free market, right? Like the free market's going to correct.
Mhm.
But the problem becomes that as soon as you have a slight advantage in the free market, it's really easy to become the only player. It's really easy to drive everybody out of business.
Not if you have
And
a
then
free
you end up
market.
in a-
yeah,
you
in a
end up-
status system, yeah, you would expect that because, they could use the state to
But
put in
that's the-
laws to get ahead of each other. But in a free market, and like I said earlier, when you see a large
that's what the-
corporation make a lot of profit, what ends up happening is other companies see that business is making a lot of profit.
But that's the whole. I feel like what you're saying to me indicates you don't understand the monopoly argument, the board game monopoly argument that I made.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do understand it, but again, like I said in the beginning, the world that we live in is not a game of Monopoly. It's
It's
and
not a
if it
game of
is so-
Monopoly.
and it is so, then I'm still waiting on your answer on or example of a natural monopoly that has come around without
But-
state help.
But I guess my argument is that if you take one step back to where
So to be clear,
before
you don't have
before-
an example.
before-
right?
No, but I'm saying Walmart is my example.
Well, that's okay. Then that's not a good example because they do get state help.
But they get state help because they petitioned for state help because they were the ones that had all the money, so they could
Okay,
go
so
to the
then
state
they're
and
not
say,
a
"Look,
monopoly.
we'll give you a bunch
right?
of money."
They're not a natural.
They are.
monopoly.
They are. You don't think that that's a natural monopoly?
No, because they got.
I'm
state
saying
help.
that Walmart. I'm saying that Walmart got big before it got help.
You don't think there was regulations at the time that made it harder for businesses
Yes.
to start up? So there was no
And
regulations at when
There
Walmart
was
was started?
there was regulations, but once they got a slight advantage, they started to tweak the regulations. They started to petition lawmakers. They started to make lobby groups. They started to
Yeah,
like
that's bad, right?
twist. So, but that's what I mean. That's bad. As soon as one
That's
person has a
inevitable
slight
under a state
advantage,
system.
it's inevitable under every system.
Not mine. Like I told you earlier, what would happen under a free market system?
But you're-
okay. So
But
like,
you're
I'll explain it
assuming
again.
that
So what
you're
happens
assuming
under a
that
free market
everybody
system?
is a good actor.
I'm not assuming that if everyone's going to be a good actor. I'm just basically what you do is you look at how businesses work in a free market, and you based on the fact that we live in a world of scarcity and the fact that we know
Okay,
that
so
businesses want to make more money than what they spend. And you create the groundwork or a society of individuals who support the non-aggression principle and don't support a state.
So
What you will
we
see
have
is
a
it'd be really, really profitable to protect those people and not screw them over, because what we would eventually see is those people not want to pay those people. Whereas in a state, we have a monopoly, whereas if you don't pay them, they will shoot you.
Okay, so pretend that we have your system where there's nobody in charge. And
I'm in charge.
you're in charge. Okay, so you're the grand poobah with the hat.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Okay. You're not the grand poobah with the hat, there's nobody in charge.
No,
Like
no
you
rulers.
keep saying. Okay. So there's no rulers. And Walmart decides to start driving everybody in the area out of business.
Are they making a lot of profit?
Yes.
Okay, so what you will end up seeing is
Well,
that
okay,
once
so they're making profit. They're making profit in Cincinnati, but in Texas they're losing money because they want to drive the small businesses out of business. So that like they're driving prices lower than is realistic because they can make money in Cincinnati, and they don't care about Texas for now. They're gonna try to drive everybody out of business, so they're selling things for lower than cost in Texas.
Okay, so what you will eventually see is that a bunch of people are then going to buy those goods at that cost, and then they'll start to lose a whole bunch of money because they're selling below the cost of what it is to actually make that thing.
Yep.
So in the beginning, they might have a slight advantage, but as soon as as those other businesses go out of business, other people will basically come in and purchase those assets from those businesses that failed at a lower price than what was before, because and then they will be able to because of that. Because once a business fails, that what they do is they end up selling off their assets, and when they sell off their assets, they end up selling it at a lower price than what they were before. So that allows the person who buys it next to basically sell goods at a lower operating price than the previous business, and sometimes even at a lower operating price than the larger businesses. So as they start to basically kick out more businesses, that then makes it cheaper.
Disagree.
No, that I could give you examples of this in the real world.
No, I'm just saying that I think that I can give you examples of where Walmart's driven small business. So I think where we disagree is that you think that
why would they have such a large
business?
Why would they have such a large competition ahead of those people? Obviously, they would have a large competition ahead of those people because they could use the state to get ahead.
Because they can survive 4 or 5 cycles of small businesses going out of business.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Because they're making money in the metaphor that we've made up. In Cincinnati, they're making money.
Well,
so
they may be making money, but they won't
money.
be making money for long, because eventually with those businesses that went out of business will sell off their assets. The people who buy it will then be able to work at a lower operating cost. And because they're making a large profit, that'll then incentivize other people to
scale.
Oh, they will, because of what you will see is because they're making a large profit, eventually people will see that they're making a large profit.
Walmart has 1 million stores that sell everything.
Well, not for long, because all that regulation that is holding
What regulation?
back...
There's no government. There's no regulation. There's no government. There's no regulation.
Oh, well, because there's no regulations, what you will see is because Walmart is making a lot of profit, what you will see is a lot of other competitors coming in and replicating that product, the products in which they're selling and the goods in which they're selling, so that they can make a large profit.
But the problem is,
and because there's no competition
to start.
Not necessarily.
You can't just open a Walmart.
How hard is it to how hard is it to buy a?
It costs like $100 million to build a Walmart. Like it's.
Wait, how hard is it to buy a building and then put some groceries in it and sell it? I mean, it's really not that expensive.
It's like $100 million hard.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Okay, so it's $50 billion hard. Whatever.
You think it's 50 billion? It would cost $50 billion to create a grocery store?
Don't
if that was true,
multiply my number by a factor of 1,000.
Okay, my bad. Million. Yeah, if that was true, you wouldn't see grocery stores popping up at all. But that's not true.
Well, you do, because there's people that have hundreds of millions of dollars.
I mean, I highly doubt that it costs hundreds of millions of dollars to start a grocery store.
Let's look it up. We can actually find this out. Because I'm not sure.
If it
like,
does
what is it open to?
You really think that?
Do you live in?
Okay, go ahead. Look it up. Let's see how much it costs to start a grocery store. You think it would cost $100 million? Come on, let's look it up.
You're being very accusatory of this. I'm saying let's just look it up. What's a normal grocery store? Like Walgreens? Like, where do you live?
Walmart. I live in
Walmart's
Florida.
Probably a good one. There's Walmarts everywhere.
So you think it would cost $100 million to start a grocery store?
Does it cost to build
start a grocery store?
Walmart.
Not a Walmart, a grocery store.
I said Walmart's got a grocery store in it. It's 14 million to 24. 14
Okay,
to
so it's
24
not
million.
$100 million. So you were just
No. I said, I said
you
like
were
50
wrong
million.
by a magnitude of like
I
10
did
of
say,
like
but
10x.
Yes, you're correct, but it doesn't change my point.
Okay, but you don't need to make a whole Walmart in order to compete with
Okay,
Walmart. You could make a
I made
grocery
guess.
store and sell groceries.
I
People
would
could
argue
make
that
an electronics
I would argue
store.
that you do though.
No, you don't. Amazon, I mean, you could start an internet store. Amazon competes with Walmart, and they don't even have a store.
Okay, fine. If you're Amazon, you compete with Walmart, but that's not my argument.
Okay, what's
That's
stopping
not-
other
that's
people from creating
misrepresenting
other
it.
people? I mean, there's the TikTok store, there's eBay. I could name you like 20 different places
What's stopping
that competes
what's
with
stopping-
Walmart, and
what's
they don't even
stopping
own a
them?
store.
From a short perspective, what is stopping them is consumer behavior.
Well, yeah, because Walmart generally, they're like they have a lot of stuff. A lot of people like to buy from them, but again, in the real world, we see that Walmart is not the only grocery store. Huh?
Do you buy things from Amazon?
Yeah, I do. I love Amazon.
I guess that's the point, right? Do you not see how that feeds into the system of Amazon's going to win in the end?
Well, Amazon wins right now because they have a lot of regulations and things in that, and they basically pay the government in order to put laws in their way.
But
in order
reason that they can
to
pay
make
the
it hard
government-
for other people to compete with them. Yeah, like of course under this, I agree with you. Under this status system, you're going to expect corporations to be very, very large. That's why I'm advocating for a free market system.
That's not what I agree with. I think you said I agree with you and then said something I don't agree with.
So you don't believe that monopolies are created under a status system?
I think that monopolies are an inevitable consequence of capitalism.
Okay, so could you name me an actual natural monopoly that is in the real world that has not gotten any state help?
The problem I have with that question is that
You can't
I
answer
don't
it.
think
That's the
that-
problem.
No, the problem is that I think that being a monopoly is inherently tied to state assistance.
I
don't think you can
100%
become a
agree with
monopoly.
you. I 100% agree
But
with you. Thank you so much, man. That
Okay,
is
so I
why
think we agree on that.
I am completely against the state, and why I
The
believe the
thing
state
that-
should be
the
completely
point-
abolished. Thank you so
The
much.
point that I think we disagree is that the state is the root of the problem. Whereas I think capitalism.
So
is
then
the
how
real
would a
problem.
natural monopoly arise under a free market system without state intervention?
Just the exact same way it arose under the system we have now?
Not really, because there would be no regulations stopping or licensing laws, no zoning
Yeah, but
laws,
there would still
making
be
it
rich
illegal
people
for you
make-
to start another business. It would be
There-
so
there
much
would-
cheaper to start a business.
Hold on, let me respond, please. There would still be rich people that would make deals with other rich people to basically extract as much wealth as they can, right? Those rich people would still exist.
Okay, and then would they be making a lot of profit?
Yes.
Okay, so what happens when in a free market system, when one company makes a lot of profit, right? Other companies basically see that company is making a lot of profit, and then what they do is they try really hard to replicate the goods and services that
Yes.
business makes
Of
or
course they do.
sells, right? And then what you end up seeing is more companies basically selling that good and service, and then eventually, over time, the price of that good or service will go down and down and down to the point where it's not as profitable as to sell that good or service as other things, and then they'll move on to other things. It's kind of like water meeting its own level.
I think where we disagree is that I think that because of volume, if you're selling 50 million lotions a day, I call lotions as like a completely random item. If you're selling 50 million lotions a day, you can afford to sell them at a much lower profit margin than if you're selling 20 lotions a day. So when you get to the scale where you're selling 50 million lotions a day, nobody can start a new business and compete with you because they need to sell at such a higher margin in order to be able to maintain their business than you do when you become big. So the big guy's always going to win out, and the new startup is always going to lose. And I think very quickly in a strictly capitalism system, you end up in a situation where people are not able to keep up with the big guy.
Is that big guy making a lot of profit?
Yes.
Okay, so what you would eventually see is, right, if once a lot of companies start to see that that business makes a lot of profit, what you'll eventually see is like a lot of businesses, they'll start to basically replicate what they're doing so that they could then basically get in on that profit. And then what you'll see is a whole bunch of competitors in the market.
I feel like you didn't understand the point that I made.
I did understand the point that you made. You're saying that
What was
there's
the
going
point
to
that I
be
made?
basically you believe that a company is going to undercut all these other companies and make a large amount of profit selling that good or service, and nobody's going to be able to compete with them because they won't be able to sell at a low enough price to entice people to buy their product.
I feel like you're misunderstanding what my point was. So it's an
Wait, how is
equation
what
of
I
scale.
Wait,
It doesn't matter. Like
is that not what you
if
said?
you're only selling 20 a year, you need to make a lot per unit. If you're selling 50 million a year, you need to make a very small amount per unit.
Are you making a
So
lot
the
of
person
profit?
the person that's selling 50 million a year can sell at a much lower price than the person that's selling 20 a year.
Well, eventually, once you see a lot of people, once a lot of other companies see that that business is making a lot of profit, what other companies will do is they'll try to get in that and try to replicate that
They'll try, but
business.
you
And then
can't
what they'll
jump from
do,
0 to a year
then
to
what they-
50 million.
And then what they'll do is they'll try to find even cheaper ways of making that product so that they can compete with that business. And once they compete with that business, they'll be able to replicate all the profits that good
But how do you go from selling 0 a year to competing with someone who's selling 50 million a year?
How did that person go from 0 to 50 million?
I think there's an argument to be made about like timing in the market there. I think you're right that like it's unfair the way they got in.
Yeah, so what we need is a free market
guess,
so that we can have,
I
other
guess-
companies come in and compete with that business so that they don't grow very large at all. Okay?
I'm trying to find the exact points where we differ. I think where we differ is that you think that government regulation in aggregate helps the big guy Walmart.
Of course it does.
Whatever.
Why
And I
wouldn't
think that you're right, but I think if the where we differ is that I think that if you were to take away that government system, the part where we get to vote and all that like stupid BS government we all complain about, if you take that away, you get a much worse version.
I don't think so. I think that allowing for free market capitalism, which is a system of allowing individuals to freely trade the goods and services in which they own between private property owners, as opposed to having a state monopoly come in and forcefully enforce its will upon the innocent. I would argue that would be a much better system than otherwise.
I just want to make sure I understand you. So you think that there should be effectively no governance?
Well, no state. I believe in governance. Like if you're the owner of your own property and you don't have a gun, you would have the right to govern your own property as in protect it, right?
Well, that's no governance, right? Like what you're describing is no governance.
I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by governance, right? Like governments, I would say, would be like
government. Do you think there should be an overseer of society? I guess is what a government is.
the only person that could be an overseer of anything would be a private property. So let's say like there was a huge like private property owner and he owns like a large swath of land, and like he had like this basically like a company city, and he would be kind of like an overseer or a king or something like that of the land.
I guess.
But he wouldn't.
So what if he
people would
walks
have
into
the right
his
to
neighbor's
leave?
yard? What if he walks into his neighbor's yard and shoots him in the head, and says, "I own all the things that you own"?
Then that private security agency that is representing that person would do something about it.
But so now, just like whoever has the biggest private security firm.
No, not necessarily, because there would be competing private security firms, what you would see as any time that a large private security firm decides to take over the other ones, because they would have like signed agreements with each other in order to like stomp out any group that tries to overthrow them. Anytime that one of them decides to attack the other ones, all the other ones would basically come together and fight back, and they would stomp out that one. And because they're making profit off of protecting people, anytime that one rises to attack other people, they would then make more money by stopping that person because they're literally making profit from stopping people who do stuff like that. So
I'm going to start by saying that I think that this is the point where we disagree on like the way that society would behave.
I mean,
But
if you don't believe me, you could read the economics. I have some economics books you can read.
The point that I would sort of bring up in sort of my protest of like why exactly this wouldn't work is that I don't see why you wouldn't end up with like mob style protection things, like whoever had the most power would become the police, and then there would be no way to mediate what those police did, and they could do whatever they wanted and say like, hey, we'll protect you for a price. Like, how do you stop against that kind of corruption?
I wouldn't consider that to be corruption. If you want protection, I mean, it's going to cost you money.
So
Whereas
the guy with the biggest,
I think that, but I would rather have
biggest dick is law.
No, obviously that's not going to happen, and the reason why is because you're going to have
That's
a
what
bunch
you
of private.
described.
No, that's not what I just described. What I just described is multiple competing private security firms that are basically going to compete with each other and have, like, generally what's going to happen is they're going to have signed agreements with each other to, in a mature economy, what you would see is they'll have signed agreements with each other that if one decides to attack the other ones will basically group together and stomp out that one that decides
You're
to
describing NATO basically.
I mean, NATO is actually a pretty good example. So, for instance, NATO, if you have you're the European Union, you have let's say if one country decides to come in and attack the other one, like maybe like a country, like for example, maybe a country like Russia decides to attack a country called like Ukraine or something like that. A whole bunch of other countries will basically give them money and weapons and arms and stuff like that to basically stop that group from apparently taking advantage of that. And and that's generally how it would work. See, that's the difference between anarcho-capitalism. Sorry, I was just gonna say one last thing, and I'll let you go. But there's a difference between anarcho-capitalism and like something like Marxism. Whereas I could give you real-world examples of this shit actually working, unlike communism, where I can't really say that.
I want to give Mr. Rizmaster a chance since he's new.
Oh, he's on my side.
Does he have an opinion? He has an opinion on anarchism.
I'm not fully on Sithis' side, actually.
Oh, you're not?
No.
You're crazy,
NATO
dude. I'm gonna be honest.
So NATO is an aggressive institution. So it is actually not analogous. Well,
no. I meant I didn't mean it like in the sense that they're the same, but they're analogous in the sense of the example that I was giving of analogous in the sense of a group of people coming together, agreeing to help each other out if, say, one group becomes tyrannical and takes over. But yeah, I do agree with you that NATO is a extremely tyrannical, evil group. But that's the only thing that I was saying that was analogous.
Yes, like you could say that the members of NATO probably also eat food. But the important distinction is kind of that NATO is an aggressor and a bunch of security firms would not be.
Oh, I agree with you 100%.
That's the distinction we're trying to make. So maybe, I don't know, I understood it differently, but, well, we agree then.
No,
but
we agree.
I agree with this.
Do you think that if you got rid of NATO that it would be better?
Oh, not necessarily, because like a bigger aggressive could easily.
Well, it depends on what you replace it with.
Yeah, but yeah, if you replace it with anything that aggresses less, then in that sense it would be better. So that's the question.
I think that's probably a fair criticism.
Because, well, so as Ancaps, the only thing we care about is non-aggression. The only thing we dislike.
Don't sit here and act like you don't think World of Warcraft is dope.
Everything else is up for grabs for whatever people want to believe about anything.
Why is that inherently aggressive then, though?
What is inherently aggressive?
You said NATO is inherently aggressive organization, but if that's like their stance, what's aggressive about that?
So I don't know what knowledge you have about anarchism here. I don't know how much Sithis described or explained about it. But we basically have this ethical maxim that is the non-aggression principle.
Okay.
So the non-aggression principle means, or I guess, says that aggression is wrong. We advocate for non-aggressive interaction. An aggression is defined as a conflict initiation, whereas conflict is defined as contradictory action. So when evaluating whether or not something is an aggression, we refer to property rights, like who had the right to the property that is used in contradictory action. For example, because Zulu uses some other Ancap usually uses a stick example. Like let's say I have a stick and I want, not the bigger stick, but just a stick. Let's say I want to use a stick for spear fishing, and you want to use that same exact stick for stoking a fire. We cannot use the stick these two contradictory ways simultaneously.
Okay.
Thus, whichever one wins out, we have to assess the situation and the legal aspect of who is the rightful owner of the stick, who has the right to use it.
Yep.
And whoever does not have the property right of the stick and wins out would be the aggressor, and the one who has his property right violated would be the victim. So ANCAPs basically just say, we support the victim, we don't support the aggressor. Aggression is wrong.
So, like, from a philosophy, I feel like I understand that. That makes sense. But the part where I struggle is who gets to decide who's the aggressor and who's the victim.
So that is based on property rights.
But who's enforcing the property rights then?
So
like, I feel like
you're
you're circumventing the question when you say it depends who has the property rights.
Well,
who wins that argument? I say this is my land, you say this is my land. Who decides whose land it is? And if I kill you to prove that it's my land, is that wrong? Like, we need an arbiter, right?
No, not in like the way we are talking about it right now. Now it's just relating to who is in the right and who's in the wrong, based on the ethical framework that ANCAP subscribe to. So sometimes the aggressor wins out. That is what is called an aggression. That is an illegitimate dispossession of property of the victim.
I feel like you're sidestepping the issue that is who decides if that's the case.
So it sounds like what you're asking now is, what if the aggressor wins out? How do we prevent that? Is that it?
I guess, yeah, I guess.
Well, I guess what he's trying to ask is, like, what do we do now? Like, let's say I punched you in the face. What do we do now? Like, that's guys.
I punched you in the face and I said,
right? Or
well,
no?
I'm saying that, like, okay, there's me and KingSithis. Me and KingSithis both say that this is the land that my sheep get to graze on. And I say KingSithis has to fuck off because this is my land, and KingSithis says Bride for Life has to fuck off because this is my land. How do we decide who has to fuck off?
Well, so it still sounds like you're asking two different questions, because the one aspect I have already answered. Who is in the right is the one who has the property right. Who's in the wrong is the one who doesn't. Okay.
How do we decide who has the property right?
So,
because right now it goes to the government.
It would be how we would decide is basically on first comer principle or voluntary transaction. So if you're the first comer to that land and you've boarded it, or created some sort of like border around it, or visual border, or something like that, so that people could see, then yeah, you've sort of created
that's fine. That's a fine definition of how we decide, but who gets to decide? Who is the person that says you're wrong and you're right? You're the person that gets the property.
Well, there is no who.
So-
There is no person that decides that. It really just depends. So, but like for instance,
But
if I were to
then
get into a dispute,
is it not just whoever has the biggest stick?
not necessarily, because let's say if somebody attacks me, we believe in private property. We believe in private courts and private arbitration and things like that. So and rights enforcement agencies and insurance firms. That
So
would
the guy
basically
with the
do
biggest
that.
stick is gonna say, "I'm gonna hit you if you don't agree with me."
Not necessarily. Not enough. Generally, you
Well,
wouldn't
that's
see
what-
something like that in a free market, and the reason why is
My argument is that is exactly what you'll see in a free market.
yeah. So the reason why you wouldn't really see something like that in a free market is when you see multiple competing private security firms in a sort of a mature market. What you'll eventually see is, to avoid conflict as much as they can, they will generally like sign agreements with each other, pre-planned agreements with each other, that if one group or agency decides to attack another, they could basically come together as fast as they could and stomp out that group altogether, because multiple groups
Then it's
or
also a bigger
agencies.
stick. Yeah.
Also, because there's they're
the
making a
collection
profit.
of them is a bigger stick. So you're essentially just saying yes. Yes, the one who wins out is the one who wins out. Ideally, we would appreciate, like our ideal society would be that people had an agreement that aggression was bad, so people would go together and prevent aggression as much as possible, so that the bigger stick would favor the non-aggressor. Right? That is what we wish to win out.
I don't understand why that doesn't work in the current system that we have.
Because we're living under a
Because
status
people-
system.
Well, yes, the biggest stake and the one that is the most support for is the aggressor. The majority of people subscribe to a worldview that favors aggression. So that is where we disagree with them.
So
If the
I guess-
majority were Ancaps, then it would be different.
the part where I disagree with you in general is that I agree that that's exactly what's happening, but I disagree that eliminating government would solve that problem. Like, I think
Well,
that people would
government-
people would continue to be dishonest, whether or not we have a democratic government, and the democratic government only serves to reinforce the people's power to tell you to fuck off if you get really egregious.
I don't know
ahead.
how to address that, but
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
It's
You go
because
ahead.
it's just a bunch of stuff. So, well, the government is definitionally an aggressor, and anarchists are against aggressors or against rulers. The government is a ruler. We don't subscribe to that. So yes, if the majority of people favor aggression, then the majority of people favor aggression. It doesn't matter if it's representative majority dictatorship or if it's minority dictatorship. We don't really have an opinion about this. I would subscribe to the opinion that minority dictatorship is largely better than majority dictatorship, or less aggressive.
That's
But
an
it
obvious
doesn't
statement.
really matter.
Also,
But,
just because you vote for
just
something
to be
doesn't make.
clear,
Sorry.
a dictatorship is a dictatorship, whether it's a minority or majority. A minority
Like-
dictatorship almost functionally doesn't exist by
Well,
definition.
that's what we're arguing. Like, regardless of whether it's a democracy or a king, right? It doesn't matter what form of government. Like all of them are aggressors. They're all evil, and we're going to be against it no matter
But
what.
you're assuming that there will be no aggressor if you remove government, though.
Well, we're not saying
No,
there would be
we-
no aggressors. We're just saying that the state is an aggressor, and therefore we need to remove them.
Okay, I guess that's okay. That's a good clarifying one.
Mhm.
I think
becoming a
that where we
different government,
disagree
right?
is I think that the idea of no aggressor is impossible, and having a controllable aggressor is beneficial in comparison to having an uncontrolled aggressor.
But we generally believe having a free market is the best way of achieving a society with the least amount of aggression that we could possibly achieve.
Okay, I guess then where I disagree is that I think that I think that there should be
I'll be right back. Bio
controls and
break.
taxation on any institution. I think that monopoly is inevitable without control. And also, just I've looked into this, and we were talking about the cost of opening a Walmart, and I got called out for saying it was too high. It's 14 to 24 million for the building. The land can cost an excess of 50 million, and the average cost is 50 to 120. So like $100 million to open a Walmart is not an unrealistic.
Well, yeah, under the current system, I would expect it to be very expensive.
But yeah, no, I feel like I got called out for saying that number too high, but I was actually exactly bang on the money. It's about $100 million to open a Walmart.
Yeah, I highly doubt it. It would cost $100 million to start a grocery store.
I just Googled it.
I said a grocery store.
But I didn't say grocery store. I said a Walmart.
I mean, yeah, under today's conditions, yeah, I would expect it to be very expensive to open up a Walmart.
I got called out for saying that it was too much. I'm saying I Googled it. I looked it up. I was right. It's about $100 million.
You think it would cost $100,000 to?
I just Googled it. It's about.
And it says $100 million. $100 million to start a Walmart.
Yeah, it does. 50
that.
to 120 million is the range Reddit gives.
I don't believe that. It says 50 to 120 million. So most of them don't cost 100 million. I would assume.
Okay, fine. I'm not gonna argue.
Any other questions?
No.
Yeah. Well,
Although actually,
Sorry,
I would love. You're like an anarchist, right? Like so. I'm trying to figure out if there's anywhere else where we can like argue about things. You're an anarchist. You believe the government should.
Do you believe in the minimum wage?
The weird one. I think the minimum wage becomes more important as power becomes more centralized.
I think we need to abolish the minimum wage.
What do you make? Out of curiosity.
Around roughly $20 an hour.
So that's like barely over minimum wage, right?
I mean, it depends on where you live.
It depends where you live. I'm assuming that's barely over minimum wage, right? Most of the Western world, it's like $15 an hour or more.
Yeah, I think the minimum wage should be $0 an hour.
Yeah, that's fair. But you're making a little bit more than minimum wage, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that your job should be paid significantly less?
It depends on the productivity that I bring to that company.
Okay. What jobs do you think should be paid significantly less? Because that's kind of what you're saying when you say minimum wage should be lowered. You're saying
I think people should be paid based on what they agree to when they do the interview. You know, a job can be like, hey, I'll pay you this much, and you can either agree to that or not agree to that. And if you agree to it, then that's how much I think you should get paid. And if you don't agree to it, then that's on you. Like,
okay.
I'm not going to sit here and give you, oh, well, I think this job should pay this much and this job should pay this much. Like,
no,
that's not how that works.
Fair. You think that should be a completely private agreement?
Yeah.
Government shouldn't have any say.
No.
How much you willing to work for?
Who, me?
No, sorry. I feel like I'm trying to steel man your position.
Oh, no, okay. I thought you were asking me how much I'm willing to work for. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I'm saying you're saying that this should be a private agreement between an individual and corporation.
Yeah.
And I don't have a strong argument against that. I don't think that's
Okay.
terribly. I don't think that's terribly like
Well, if you want a good video or to watch on like how private security agencies or law without, there's a video called Law Without Government that's really, really good. I can send it to you if you want.
Sure. I mean, I watched some documentaries. I'm not promising to watch it, but I might.
All right. I mean, it's called Law Without.
I guess where we differ is I think that
Will be disputants who
if
need
you
help
remove
resolving a
all
conflict.
laws and all regulation, you create a vacuum for people to abuse.
Well, we're not
And I
against
think
law.
that the masses need to have an elected individual that they can sort of decide on to represent their interest. And when you remove the ability for an elected official to represent the interest of the population, you're removing a lot more than you think you are.
We're not against law. What we're against is we believe in a specific kind of law. We believe in the non-aggression principle, and we believe that should be law. And the reason why we don't support a state is because we believe that the state violates that law. They initiate aggressions against people. And to the point of the elected official, I don't think it matters if a whole group of people vote in a booth and choose somebody to represent them to make certain decisions. It doesn't give that person the right to impose their will upon me, especially or on my property. You know, they can't tell me how much, like they could be like how much you could charge somebody, that you have to pay this tax when you sell something. You have to you have to get this license before you start working at, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm not with that.
So how is I see this thing here sent to me? How is what I didn't have a chance to watch the whole thing, but from the initial look, it looks like a jury, effectively. They're saying like, hey, here's a jury system.
I mean, something similar to that.
What's different about that than our current jury system?
Well, it's private.
It's
private.
I mean, a current jury system is as close to private as you can get. It's random.
Well, it's not private. It's
not
state
private,
funded.
But like, who's gonna pay for it if it's private?
You or your security agency.
But that's taxes then now.
Not taxes. It's a fee.
I don't understand the difference.
Taxes are forcibly extracted. Fees are paid because you want the service. If taxes and fees were the same thing, then that would mean that the local McDonald's, every time I buy a Big Mac, is taxing me.
If the fee that enforced building roads and policing was optional, nobody would pay it.
Yes, they would.
Right? I think that nobody would. I wouldn't.
I mean, don't you want protection?
Yes.
Okay, and I could assume that there would be
But if
people.
that-
I could assume that there would be people out there who would make
I'm gonna
money.
assume that everybody
Hold on.
else.
Let me
is gonna
finish
pay
my
for it,
statement.
though.
I could assume that there would be people who could make a lot of money protecting other people for money, right?
Yes, but those same people could extort money by saying we won't beat you up if you pay us.
Not if you. I mean, not if they're a private company.
Well, unless the other private companies are like, yeah, we're all on the same page.
Oh yeah, but then you're describing a state. Then we're
But
back
you-
to your system.
well, I guess what's stopping people from creating that situation? You're assuming
Well,
that they just won't out of the goodness of their hearts.
Well, I'm not assuming that it never will happen. What I'm assuming, what I'm predicting, I would say, not or assuming,
Prediction, okay.
is that because of the incentives of a free market system, if you have a whole bunch of people who believe in the non-aggression principle very, very strongly, it wouldn't be very profitable to go and violate that principle because then.
And I guess
Yeah,
that's
but
where
the
we
thing
differ.
is, today, we don't live in a world of people who believe in the non-aggression principle. We live in a world of people who believe it is okay to violate other people's rights through taxation, regulation, and inflation.
But I think that people will continue to be abusers in that sense, as long
That's
as
why we
it's
got to
possible.
convert people to anarcho-capitalism, man.
But I don't think you can find a system where that's not possible without having elected officials.
I just explained to you one, anarcho-capitalism.
I know you feel like you did, but I feel like that wasn't an adequate explanation for...
It wasn't good enough.
Well, it's not an adequate explanation to, like, stop people from being bad.
I mean, if you're gonna make profit from protecting people, and most of the people in that area believe in the non-aggression principle, and you have multiple private security agencies who have agreements with each other to protect each other if one rises up, yeah, you would expect that if one rises up, all the other ones would come together and stomp that one out, and because the people there would expect peace and expect those people to sort of protect each other, well then yeah. But again, we live in a society... Sorry, just one last statement.
Okay,
we live in a society of people that don't support the non-aggression principle and support the state violating that principle. Go ahead.
My point would be, because there's way more money to be made by, instead of saying, hey, we don't support your aggressive attitudes, saying like, hey, dial back your aggressive attitudes a little bit and we'll be on your side. That the dialing back sort of like group would win, and inevitably you would end up with a group with way too much power.
Not necessarily.
Can I
I
say
mean,
something?
not necessarily, but I think more than likely.
I mean, it could happen, but I would argue under a free market system, it would be less likely. It would be more likely to not happen than to happen.
But when the free market system can come up with people that have so much power that they can change the laws of a marketed system, the same people that come up with that power are going to get that power in a free market system as well.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sorry.
I think it depends on what we believe, like what percentage of humanity are going to try to violate things, and which percentage of the population are going to actually try to protect the system.
So
And-
overall human good, kind of what?
Yeah, I think for a free market to work, there's this understanding that maybe 80% is sheep, 15% are good, 3 to 5% are evil. I think that's the understanding that makes the free market possible, because then the 15% keeps the 3 to 5% in check, and then the 80% are just sheep.
Yeah, I think
That's a
what
good point.
you're saying. Yeah, I
That's a
think
good
I
point.
think that's what you're saying. I think that's a good point. Yeah,
I never thought about it that way.
it's a difference in what we assume the average person is going to do.
Well, the thing is, if we have a free market and, you know, like I said, and have sort of a mature market, you know, kind of like you said earlier, like a UN sort of system, right? Then yeah, I would expect something like, you know, that to happen, what he described.
So then that's when I start asking people if they think that people are born good or if they're born evil, or if it's mostly evil or mostly good.
I think that completely depends on
I don't know. It's like
how you define
Well,
good and
neutral,
evil.
dude.
hello, mean words.
How many words?
Hi.
Do you know what anarcho-capitalism is?
It's anarchistic capitalism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that worked on you. Okay, cool.
What? I mean, you weren't wrong.
I just used a definition to define the definition. I'm glad that worked. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
technically, you're
proud
not
of you.
wrong. It is an anarcho-capitalist system, you know? I mean,
Sorry, but if I was you and I was not me, I would have kicked myself in the nuts just now. But okay. Different standards for different people.
I see why you call yourself mean words.
No, I'm not mean words because of that.
Oh shit, we're gonna die.
Well, you are gonna die. We're all gonna die.
I'm talking about in my World of Warcraft.
Wait.
You're also
Anyways.
gonna die in this.
You're gonna die.
How is that?
Let's be
How is
real.
that? How is that? How is that mean words? Like that's not mean words. What I just said.
It felt mean.
What?
Well, how?
Felt mean in my heart.
It's not mean. I'm not saying anything mean. I didn't call you anything.
I don't know. I'm just messing with you, man.
No, you're not. You actually called me mean. I'm not mean.
Well, your name is mean words.
Doesn't mean what it means though. It means mean words, like meaning like etymology, like what do words mean? Like do we agree what words mean? Doesn't mean like saying bad stuff. It's not like saying the F word.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
So it's like the average
It's not
of
about
what
saying,
everybody
about pushing
thinks
the
the
boundaries.
word means.
it's not about hard R's and all that shit. It's like or the N word. It's nothing about that shit. It's just about what do words mean, etymology.
Etymology.
Yeah.
Do you know what anarcho-capitalism is?
No.
No.
I mean, I have a sense, but the whole point, like, I know, I've heard this question 1,000 times.
If I were
Or
to say
maybe
the
like-
free
maybe
market,
like-
is that the answer?
No,
Oh,
but
and
the reason why I said
tell
what
you
I
what it
said
is.
is because it's like because it is I could just use the word to define the word. That's it.
Well, you would have to know what anarcho and capitalism means. But I would more define it as a free market, a stateless free market society.
That's what a free
Is
market
that
is.
charming? Is that charming to you? Is this like what's gonna get you out of bed in the morning?
Yes. Gets me a hard on.
Well, no, though. Does it really though actually get you a hard on, sort of, and so to speak?
Yes. Really gets me
Okay.
going, you know.
No, don't be sarcastic. I don't like that. I don't like sarcasm. Like, does it actually not like literal hard on, but like, does it actually?
Really gets me going.
It actually makes you think about writing a book. Like, does it do that?
I mean, I make YouTube videos.
Okay, does it make you want to make YouTube videos about it?
Hell yeah.
Okay, has it made you make YouTube videos about it?
Yep. And you're on YouTube right now.
And you've made
Oh,
videos
geez.
about this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Check
so
my
you're
channel out.
passionate about this.
Check out my YouTube channel.
Alright, maybe I will, but like,
KingSithis.
okay. Alright, so you like it enough where you're willing to make YouTube videos about it.
Well, yeah. And TikTok.
Are they just live? Are they live? Are they live videos or?
No.
do you
This
edit
is
them?
I do live debates, but then I have actual videos, like good videos.
I see.
They're mostly
Probably not
like,
one then.
like my last YouTube video was on the minimum wage.
So I would say that I agree with a lot of the things that you said. How do you think we get there? What do you think is the most reasonable?
Changing
solution?
minds, I think. Just changing minds. Personally.
Via what?
I think we just got to get more people to recognize what aggression is and get more people to support the non-aggression principle. And I think the best way to do that is to demonstrate how good free markets are.
You know, I came to a very similar conclusion. And
So don't follow up with
the reason why I think we have a similar conclusion is that I think most of the world's issues can be resolved through understanding where the divide exists. And that's between, for me at least, disgust and understanding. When you have a lot of people joining a religion based in disgust with each other as a
So you have, like political correctness as a new religion, for instance. And you're supposed to be disgusted with all those who don't believe it. Well, the opposite of that disgust is understanding. And if we can have enough understanding, then ultimately we will get to a place where a free market just becomes rational.
Yeah. I think it works consequentially, and I think it works deontologically,
The thing is, right now, there are entire countries that are going to be severely less understanding. And then there are countries that are closer to what is more ideal for a free market. So then you would have to then protect those countries first in order for you to actually have what is closest to a free market.
Yeah.
So which countries do you think we should
Javier Milei.
ourselves from?
Oh, wait, say
Pardon?
that again?
Which countries would you suggest we protect ourselves from first? Like, what is the worst offenders of the non-aggression principle?
I feel like right now, I mean, the biggest countries, I would say like the United States, but I would say Russia is pretty bad. They're like killing a lot of people in a war. But America's really bad too.
Are you putting Russia
And China's
the US
bad
on the
too.
on the same tier?
Who's the worst? And
I don't know. I feel like Russia's pretty bad. But then I think about China, and I think they're pretty bad too. So they're like really bad. But
so we should probably put it on a hierarchy, right? Because we want to protect ourselves first from the most destructive, least understanding, but the most violations of the principle that you think will unite us.
I think China.
So we agree on that, actually.
Yeah, now that I think about it, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I've come to really, in the last 17 years, understand how China wages war to divide, to conquer, to destroy.
Because you
And
know what,
that's why
Russia's
I've been
bad, but
focusing
they're
on
still
that.
like kind of primitive. But China, they're really like advanced with technology. They do like some crazy shit with technology and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They like
there's
censor
no-
their people, and
There's no line, right? They don't have a line they won't cross. The ends justifies the means. So in that sense, wouldn't you say in America, the desire for a lot of people to be independent of China is one that will get us closer to a free market?
maybe. I don't know. Say the question again.
For instance, in America, a lot of people want independence from China, Chinese production, Chinese espionage, whatever it is. You want to be independent from their telecommunications, whatever it is. If you can defend your borders from that kind of subversion, wouldn't you say that America would be much better off, much closer to a free market if they can do that?
No, because having a closed border is anti-free market.
But if you have an open border towards countries that are going to violate the non-aggressive principle the most, then wouldn't that be toxic to your free market?
I mean, a country can't be an aggressor. It's the people that are in there. If there are people who are in there that are aggressors, yes. But I mean, individual peaceful people, no.
Well, that's the key. Right? We need to be able to ascertain what percentage of people in a country are going to be the most likely to violate these non-aggressive principles.
The
So,
NAP.
for instance, the NAP?
Yep. Non-aggressive principle. Yeah, that's what we call it.
Non-aggressive principle. NAP. Okay.
The NAP.
I like to say understanding. We're going to be the most understanding. But I guess I think.
Or the ZAP, zero aggression principle.
The thing is, I'm not against. Sorry, I'm not. I'm actually against your principle of non-aggression. I'm okay with aggression. Because if you understand, and if you've done your best to understand, you also need to act on those understandings, which means conflict, which means aggression.
No. Aggression's bad,
Nope.
man.
So, for instance, if you were to purchase something because you think that
Is it me or did he just cut? Did you just cut out?
He cut out.
no, I'm just thinking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you cut out.
No, that was a bad example. That's why I pivoted.
Oh, okay. No problem. How do you say your name?
Okay.
Merovingian. You say Marrow or whatever.
What do you believe in it? If you don't mind asking.
Oh, from the Matrix?
Yeah. I believe
speak
in a free
French?
market. I mean,
Can you wipe your ass with French words?
Comment allez-vous? That's all I know. No, I don't actually speak French.
I like the movie a lot, so.
Yeah, free. What's the term for a mostly free market that still has some
Minarchist?
controls in place?
Minarchist?
Really? I've never heard of that term.
That's like a person that believes in a minimal state. It's like as minimal as you can make it.
Okay. So yeah, just defending the borders.
Or will be like, generally
For
people will be
instance-
like, oh, there should be courts, the police, and the military, and that's it.
Yes. So wouldn't you say that's a better ideology
No.
in today's society?
Well, I would say that's better than today. Yeah. But I would say it's not better than Ancap. Ancap is way better.
Right. So you need to convince people of your first one, so that, of the more realistic one, before then you can convince people of the much less realistic one. Because what you're talking about is utopia compared to what is actually feasible.
Well, yeah, that's why I
Within
said
our
that
lifetime.
that's why I said not only should we convince people, but we should not just convince them using our words, but we've got to convince them using actual real world examples. And I think what we need to do is like do our best to create those real world examples. Like, for instance, like Argentina right now, they just elected their first Ancap president. So, and he's been doing nothing, but he's sliced
What's
a ton of ministries. Anarcho-capitalist.
What is Ancap?
Anarcho-capitalist.
Oh.
So when I have an example now. When you
And Ancap is short for anarcho-capitalist. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay.
Yeah.
When you have a company competing with another company, the moves that they do in order to win, whatever it is, marketing, product, being better, argument in terms of convincing other their buyer base as to what is better, all of that stuff is aggression to a degree. It is competition, right?
I disagree.
It is just not a physical competition. So there's different hierarchies of competition. You have
yeah, I don't think you understand the word aggression. Aggression would be some sort of initiation of unwanted force against your property.
Well, let's just say I'm a company and I'm selling Coca-Cola, and you have a company and you're selling Pepsi. You are doing unwanted aggression against my property.
No.
Because your product is basically my product.
No.
And you're stealing my customers. My
No. That's not how that works. An aggression.
So you don't think there's
that's not an
competition
aggression.
within marketing?
No, I'm saying that's not an aggression. That's just competition.
So it kind of merges, right? That's why I said there's a hierarchy. There's a range of aggression. You
Wait,
have
I want to know how. I just want a quick guess how to answer to this. How is it that if I sell a product that competes with yours, that I've somehow initiated some unwanted force against your property? Like,
So
I'm not stealing
marketing.
any. That would be like stealing or harming you in some way, or damaging your property.
I've worked in marketing, and I do watch my peers get into a lot of lawsuits, and those go on for a long time because you have similar products, similar experiences using that product. Just the products are slightly
We don't
different.
believe in intellectual property, right?
Who?
Us, Ancaps. We don't believe it's actual property. I wouldn't really call it intellectual property. I would call it an intellectual monopoly. That's when an IP is when the state makes it illegal for another person to compete with you using your own property because you're copying them.
Okay, so in your ideas, nobody has much of a motivation to innovate then, because the other side can just steal it right away.
It's not true. We live in the world of the internet. Anyone could copy anyone's work with a click, and yet people are posting stuff on the internet all the time for free.
But the way that they would make money is to make it not for free.
Yeah. So
Wait, how can you
that
actually be an
shows you
Ancap?
that shows you, right, that you could make money while people are able to copy your work, because anyone could copy your video. Right.
Assuming I can steal anything I want, wouldn't I just steal?
You're not stealing anything. It's copying. Copying is not theft.
So if I were to write a book, and I spent 1,000 hours doing so, and you copied it and said you wrote it, that's just copying, not theft.
That's fraud. Because now I'm selling a product and representing it as mine when it's not mine. So then the person who's buying,
I can sell it.
as long as you're being honest and you're saying that it's not yours, that you didn't write it, and that it's like, for instance, if you wrote a book, Viewful wrote a book called Ancap stinks, and this Ancap stuff stinks, right? Whatever, and then I copy it and then I sell it, right? But I put made by Beautiful, right? I'm not violating anyone's rights because it says it on there that it was made by you. Well,
what if when I wrote a book about...
Wait, but doesn't this also make it so books are impossible to marketize? You can't. I mean, like, yeah.
Anyone can copy your
that
book right now.
And give it.
You ever heard of
free,
PDFs? And
that's what I mean, though. Right?
You can copy a PDF infinitely right now.
Yes,
so no book should ever be made again to be sold, at least.
No, what I'm saying is that's happening right now, and people still make books.
Well, it happens right now, but there's protections in place that make it fraud or theft. It's theft, right? You can go to prison.
No, it's not theft.
Yeah,
I mean, it's under the system,
doing
under the
that.
current legal system,
Right.
it's theft, but I would say it's not theft. All you're doing is copying.
So if it's not theft, then you think that no one
Copying
should
is
write
not
a book
theft.
and make money? So no one should make money off of that, though?
I don't agree that people aren't going to make money. I believe that people are going to make. You could still make money even without IP.
How can you make money? You mean you can get donations? You can be donated money.
You
for
could still
making
make
a
money
book, but
without
you
IP.
can never sell the book, right?
Do people copyright? Do people patent their YouTube videos before they upload it?
No, here's the thing. I agree with you. Okay, on a small scale like a book, that's a little bit easier to understand. But what if I need to invest not just 1,000 hours, but also, I should say, $100 million in order to have enough research to actually figure out this tiny little thing that would make my product work better than the other products? Why would I invest in $100 million if I know it's just going to be stolen right away?
Oh yeah. So one thing I disagree with you is what you might call it. You're saying that you're stealing it, but no one is really stealing anything from you. What they're doing is they're copying your work. So I'm not.
Okay,
I don't really agree with the word stealing.
After I spend $100 million of my hard-earned money, and I invested in the scientific research of this product to make it, I should say, 20% more effective than the other products.
Mm-hmm.
What's motivating me to actually do this investment? If the moment I released the product, another company would just copy it.
Yeah, so what you could do is, as opposed to doing the research up front, you could sell the drugs because there would be no regulation forcing you to... The only reason why it's extremely expensive to sell a drug or do research for a drug or anything like that, or any product, yeah, for any product, is because there's generally like a lot of regulation that makes it really expensive to sell a product without doing the research. But yeah, if you do
it increases the cost a little, but the research itself is still the FDA's
I mean, even if it
cost.
costs a lot of research to do, what you can do is you could take your idea or invention to a bunch of investors, right? And you could say, hey, sign this non-disclosure agreement before I show you my invention. And then they can agree to invest in you. Be like, hey, I believe this product is worth this amount of money up front, and then they can, so that they could be the first seller. And when you're the first seller, what you get is the first seller's advantage. The first seller's advantage basically is when you're first to market, your product is more recognized. No, it's not, because again, if you've never heard of the first seller's advantage, you should definitely go research.
Understand.
So the first seller's advantage is... Hold on, allow me to finish, please. So the first seller's advantage basically is when you're the first seller, people recognize your product and know your product more. It gives you a jump head start in the market because it allows you to innovate on your product ahead of other competitors. And
I know.
You know, there's a whole bunch of upsides to that. So so it is still possible to make profit off of your product, even though you put a lot of money into it up ahead. Also, there's such thing as what we call Kickstarters, right? So Kickstarters is like, hey, I have this like idea for like a really good product. Just give me the money up front and for the research and development, and then, you know, you pay me up to what it costs plus some profit to do the research and development, so that you get the money up front, and then you use that money to do the research and development on that product, making your profit up front. And then you could sell your product after it was done being made. And then if somebody copies it, it doesn't really matter to you because you've already made the profit. In fact, a lot of Kickstarters work this way.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, there are plenty of ways, free market ways for you to make or sell your product.
It's not going to be a fraction. It's not going to be a fraction of the cost of the research.
Not necessarily. Not if you have a Kickstarter and you charge to make that product what it costs and a little bit above what it costs to create that product, and then boom, you're good. In fact, Star Citizen, they were a video game and they got $300 million. So yeah, it's definitely possible. If you could get enough people to want what you want, you could definitely get the money for it. I mean, there are people who've gotten millions and millions of dollars to make the most stupidest fucking shit. Also, you got in non-disclosure agreements. You do also have non-disclosure agreements, things like that too. If you want even more arguments for it, there's like this really, really good YouTube video by me called "Why We Should Abolish Intellectual Property." Just plugging. Yep, by me. It's really, really, really good. Why intellectual property should be abolished. There's another really, really good YouTube video by this guy who's really cool. His name is Liquid Zulu. He has an hour-long YouTube video on it. And there's another guy called Stefan Kinsella. He's a libertarian and actually was a patent attorney for many, many years. And he goes around and does talks about private property and why intellectual property should be abolished and why we'd be so much better without it. So yeah, and he even wrote a book about it too. There's an article by Journal of Being, and a research paper done by them that shows why patents aren't actually make things worse than they would otherwise. So yeah, I have a whole bunch of things that I could send you that could prove my point. That
I mean,
but I would definitely watch the YouTube video by KingSithis first. That one's really awesome.
Here's my argument, okay?
Yeah.
If what you're saying is true, let's just say it's true. Isn't that a little bit narcissistic to assume that something we've never done before, we don't really have any examples of throughout history, that it's going to work?
Of not having patents? We've had countries without patents and intellectual property.
And have they worked better than countries that do have patents?
Yeah, in fact, what's his name? Stefan Kinsella made an argument that New Zealand or something, or a country like that, didn't have medical patents for medical products, and they were one of the leading designers and creators of drugs. And
are we talking about recent years or throughout history?
I forgot the exact year, but it was pretty recent. It was like in the 19 somethings at least.
So recently, the world works in a very different way. I agree, but it's still not like New Zealand isn't actually an absolutely free market place, right?
Oh, also, I mean, that's just an example. I'm not saying their whole country is free market.
So that example, what I'm trying to say is not accurate to what you are assuming will be the most effective
What I
way.
said is the example was a country without patents, and you said there was no historical example of a country without patents, and it being successful. And then I'm just using that as an example of a country that didn't have patents for medical products, and they were still fine. So,
I see.
Yeah.
For medical products,
Yes.
but for other things, they have patents.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that I'm not disagreeing with you. Okay, here's my understanding. Most things in this world are in flux, right? Resources are in flux, ideologies are in flux. So your understanding seems a little extreme to me, but if we don't go to that extreme and say we just reduce the amount of time a patent is effective, then that itself would still be very useful towards getting to the free market model, right?
Oh yeah, if we could reduce it, I would be in favor of reducing the amount of time in which people can hold a patent. Absolutely, yeah. Any like move towards a freer market is good for me. So if people want to like lower it and then like see what happens, then yeah, I would say to do it.
So I would argue that that's the middle ground. And the middle ground seems like it would be a good balance. And the balance would actually, and then we could kind of adjust that balance between maybe if too little patent, then things get chaotic. Too much patent, then things become chaotic. We should kind of find that middle ground, the balance.
Incorrect.
First.
Incorrect. Because that would the only way in which you can uphold a patent is by initiating an aggression on innocent people, and I would never support that.
What I'm trying to say is, I get where you're coming from. You don't support it, but it would be much easier to convince other people of your understandings by not being as extreme. So you have this ideal.
Yeah, but somebody has to believe what I listen, brother. I'm consistent with my belief. I'm not trying to be like I get what you're saying. You're like, oh, if I was just a little bit less extreme, I would probably convince more people. Maybe that would be true, but the thing is, I would then be lying because I don't agree with that.
You don't have to agree with it. You can say, realistically, this is what we can do first. My ideal is something else entirely. But realistically, we can do this first. And so then you get more and more people to then adopt this understanding of being in the middle, the golden middle. And then eventually, if they think it works, then they'll keep shifting towards your understanding.
Hey, I'm all for lowering regulations, man. I'm not against that.
I guess.
But the ideas are always, but fundamentally, my ideas are always going to be the same. You know, it's going to be, we must go towards this. Like, it must be going towards this.
I'm just saying, right now we have very little data as to what it looks like for an absolute free market, which I think will work too. The thing is, I agree with you.
Empiricism. I'm not an empiricist.
I'm not confident or narcissistic enough in that imaginary world to actually make a black and white statement about how that is the king of ideologies, and we should stick to that throughout eternity.
It is. And we should stick to it for all eternity. Like Star Trek.
Well, I'm just saying, I think people are... Here's the thing. When you are doing what you're doing to be the other extreme, then that also creates conflict. That creates disgust and conflict, which is actually contrary to your non-aggression, right?
No, I'm not harming anyone. I just disagree.
I guess you are doing it in a very
I'm not trying to force anyone into my beliefs. I just tell people I disagree with them and why. I'm just an Ancap at the internet arguing my beliefs.
This trend of like, I'm a label, prove my label is wrong, kind of ideology of debate is something that I think is stoking the fires of extremism.
Well, I'm live streaming. I want to debate people. That's the point. And it's fun to debate people, so yeah.
I see. I guess, you know what?
That's why I put debate and Ancap live, you know.
Well, I'm kind of debating how we should convince people, how we can get people to understand instead of being on the defensive, because you're going to get a lot of debates where people are not going to learn a thing from you, right?
Yeah, but I'll still get good content, and I'll still be fun.
I see. So you're not doing this in good faith, then?
I mean, I don't think I'm being bad faith. I'm being honest with you. I'm telling you what I believe. If I convince, I just don't care if I convince a person or not. If they don't, you know, I try my best to convince people, but I go into it with the understanding that people aren't, you know, I have a bit of an extreme belief, and not everyone's going to agree with me. All I can do is sit here and tell you what I believe in the best way that I can. I don't think I'm being bad faith.
I think the reason why I say it is, you're actually doing it great for somebody who has an extreme belief, but I think it's more, it can still be tweaked to be more good faith, because if you were to try to understand the other side, try to be able to understand why the other side's reasoning, and like for instance when I say that we should get to the middle ground first in regards to the patents, then you're actually still acknowledging that the other side's reasoning is valuable, and in that sense you'll be able to come to a better idea together. And so you're not just assuming that you are right about everything.
I am right about everything. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
It takes a lot of confidence to get there, in my opinion, or a lot of ego.
Pretty funny.
I can't think of a single thing I'm wrong about.
Except for being an Ancap, of course. But
how old are you now? You don't have to tell me the exact number.
I'm 28.
Just
okay. Good.
So, what did you think that you were right about everything, say, a year ago?
Yes. I'm just such a narcissist.
About 5 years ago, then?
I'm just like such a narcissist. I think I'm like always right all the time, even when I'm wrong.
I know you're just making fun of me now, but were you 5 years ago?
No. I mean, I've always. I mean, I don't think I'm always right. I know. I mean, I could change my mind in the future, but I feel like coming to the point to becoming an Ancap was like a really long journey. It was many, many years of being
I
a
get that.
libertarian. And then I feel like I've gotten to the point where I'm at the end point. I feel like I don't think I'm going to be anything but an Ancap for the rest of my life, because I feel like this is the most consistent way of libertarianism. And I've been libertarian for many years, and I value consistency.
I get that. I get that. I'm just saying that it's probably not the way that you're going to convince anybody of significance.
I mean, like I said, if I convince people, I convince people. If I don't, I don't. I try my best, but it is what it is.
Like, I can tell you're way smarter than me, probably. And you probably got all this figured out way before I ever could. So,
dude, I only became an Ancap like a year ago, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm also much older than you.
Oh, wait, how old are you?
I'm 36.
Oh.
So, assuming
Wait,
that
what are you
you're able
guys-
to also able
What
to
were you guys
convince
even
people
talking
more
about?
effectively.
We're talking about anarcho-capitalism.
Why?
Because you're in the debate in Ancap VC.
Yeah, but like, why talk about that?
Because you're in the anarcho-capitalism VC.
No. Why? Like, I mean, sorry. I mean, like, why are you interested in it?
Because I'm an anarcho-capitalist.
Do I have to ask again why?
I just answered your question.
You're an anarcho-capitalist. Why are you an anarcho-capitalist?
Because I believe in the non-aggression principle, and the non-aggression principle is one does not have the right to initiate an aggression against any innocent person. And I'm against the state because I believe that the state forcefully extracts our wealth through taxation. Taxation is theft.
The whole innocent person is also like a range, like how innocent really are you. There's going to be a range of people who are more guilty and less guilty.
Well, I
Like,
mean,
for instance, if
what would
you were
determine
to
whether
gun
you're
down-
guilty is whether you've initiated an aggression against another person. If you haven't initiated an aggression against another person, then you're an innocent person.
A good example would be a firing squad, right? If you were to kill a person, instead of you killing the other person yourself with a gun, you have a team of 50 people shoot in the general direction of that person. Well then, is all
Well, you
50
still
of
killed
them
them.
is all 50 of them as complicit as the one person?
I mean, they're all complicit, but I would say the person who set it up would be like more in trouble than the other guys.
The person that set it up is like, let's just say,
I would say he would be like the
doesn't-
most in trouble, and then the other guys would be like accessory or something like that.
Yeah, but compared to the scenario of one person shooting, so one person saying, "Yes, boss, I got it," boom, versus, "Sir, yes, sir," a whole line of them going.
I mean, well, I mean,
Right.
150, it would be the same thing. Like the guy who set it up would be like, I would say he would probably be the most in the most trouble,
We're
and then the
taking-
other guys would be
we're
like a little less in trouble, but they would still be in trouble. Or that, yeah, or that guy.
We're taking the guy who set it up out of the picture, right? In this scenario, we're talking about the individuals doing the firing. So when it's just one person following the order, we would probably argue that that one person following the order is more complicit, right?
Are you asking me, is it wrong to murder people? Yeah, yes, it is wrong to murder people.
No, I'm not asking you that. I'm saying that there is a range of how complicit people are to a crime, to a wrongdoing.
Mm-hmm. That's why there's a different forms of restitution that could be paid out to you depending on the crime that is committed.
I see. That's good. It's a good comeback.
Like somebody who commits murder would like obviously be more in trouble than. That's like I said earlier. Like, the person who was like at top would be like the most trouble, and then the person at the bottom would be like a little less in trouble, but they're still in trouble. Like there would be degrees of punishment, kind of like.
Here's the thing. I don't even disagree with with your free market model. I do think that's the end game of if humanity is, if everybody is extremely coherent, right? And there's no percentage of the population that's going to get together to destroy all this stuff because they wouldn't profit from it. Then yeah, it is the most ideal. I just don't think the way you're convincing people is ideal. That's all.
I mean, anyone could always be better at convincing people, right?
Well, if you're doing it, you might as well optimize it.
I mean, I'm trying I do my best. I mean, I want to convince
Honestly,
people.
you're way better at most people already at convincing people.
You know, I don't. It's not my intention to scare people off. Like that's, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Like, have you been on this server for long?
I've been on for a little while, and I've gotten to know the mods, and I'm friendly with them, and they allow me to do this, so, you know. So yeah, I like the server.
Honestly, I'm scared. I feel scared. I am scared. He
Scared
does
of
scare
what?
people.
Scared of what?
Scared of you.
Why?
Scared
What
of
did I
you,
do?
because you're an anarchist. You're an anarchist. You'll kill everyone.
Bro, I don't support that, man. I'm not that kind of anarchist. There's different kinds of anarchists.
Because that word's been so demonized. What would you say is a better word for it?
I think anarchist is fine. I think it's just what kind of anarchist you are. I think that's the thing. That's why when people I wear an anarchist necklace, so some people will come up to me, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm an anarchist," and I'll be like, "All right, what kind?" And it's like this one girl actually came up to me, and she was like, "Oh, you're an anarchist? I'm an anarchist too," and I was like, "Oh, cool. What kind?" And she looked. She was like, "Oh, I don't know. I like punk rock and I hate authority."
Well, I mean, I don't think... Okay. I think the idea of borders...
No, I just think that, like, you gotta put when you say anarchist, you can't just say anarchist. You gotta say anarchist with something. So that's why I say anarcho-capitalist. You know what I'm saying?
People associate it with cyberpunk.
Or Ancap. Or
another...
The closest thing I can get to...
that I think is gonna hurt your message.
Sorry,
I think...
What did you say? I wanted... Sorry. I don't know who...
Please continue. Beautiful.
Go ahead, Beautiful. I didn't hear what you said last.
You know, you're stubborn about retaining the word anarchist, which is gonna hurt your message.
But it's true. We are anarchists.
No. It's not gonna hurt his message. I mean, I don't like the idea of borders. I think it's stupid. Does that make me an anarchist?
Not necessarily.
Okay, what makes you an anarchist?
Well, you gotta be... anarchy is just the idea of no rulers. Now, what kind of anarchist you are depends on how you define a ruler. So...
what? Wait,
Ancoms would consider like business owners to be an unjust ruler, whereas I would not.
Would you call yourself a conspiracy theorist?
Not really.
Well, anarchy is not liking rulers, but then the other like it's a it's a complex word, right? Like two words. It has to be anarchist something, right?
Well, yeah, that's why I say, like, as opposed to anarchist, I say anarcho-capitalist, because...
Okay, so anarchy means
so people
like
know
you don't
that,
like
I'm a
ruler.
specific... And so anarcho is like no rulers, no state, and then capitalist is like I'm a capitalist. That means that, you know, I believe in free trade between private property owners.
I mean, wouldn't you convince, 1,000 times more people if you just call it free market?
Yeah, but I am an anarchist.
I mean, he doesn't have to convince. I mean, like.
But it's true. I'd be lying if I was just saying I was a free market.
Wouldn't there be some kind of regulations on the free market?
We don't believe in free regulations.
That's why I'm asking you guys to rebrand, right? Because yes, what you're saying is true that you are an anarchist, doesn't mean that you can't have another set of words that also mean anarchist.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're kind of just tone policing me at this point, you know?
But like King. It has.
Think of this as a marketing. I'm thinking of this as a marketing meeting because I already agree with you, right?
Well, I don't know what to say to that. I don't know because I feel like we're already anarcho-capitalists. It's kind of like already our name. Like, what are we gonna do? I can't change it.
Like people.
I don't have that authority.
People are demons, and if there was no regulations, things will fucking go into like chaos, right?
No.
People will fuck each other up.
No. Regulations are bad, bro. Regulations fuck people up.
Okay, so in your view, a moral system will replace laws.
Private security agencies.
What do you mean?
You would have like private security agencies or insurance agencies in which you would pay a certain amount of money every single month into you, and then they would protect you. Or you could just like not pay them and protect yourself. Is that Pog Froggy? Wait.
Have you ever talked to a username Wolfie?
Yes.
And do you guys agree with most things?
I'm not a flat earther.
Wait, Wolfie's not a flat earther.
Oh, then we got a different. We're talking about a different person then.
Oh.
Pog, are you you're an Ancap, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So in that system, people like it's so likely that people will form alliances if each person is on their own, and like people are more likely to form alliances, and then a tribe will emerge, and then a fucking religion will emerge, and then a country will emerge, right? Like it just like how it happened before.
Not if our religion goes. It becomes the dominant religion. Praxianism. That's our religion. We worship the free hand, the invisible hand of the free market.
That's not our religion, though.
It is. I just created it.
Oh my god, bro! Bro, you're not consistent. I thought you were like you had actual views.
I do. I just told you my views.
You're not consistent. In that, like, if you're perfect reality...
How am I not consistent?
Look, because you answered my question with a joke. If your reality became... If your perfect reality, like your perfect fucking system of governance or non-governance, became real tomorrow, you know in your heart of hearts that it's gonna, like, happen just like it happened before in history. Is gonna progress into the system we have right now.
No.
No?
No.
How so?
Because...
Are you like relying on people's IQ or something? People are stupid.
Us Ancaps have really high IQs, okay, bro? Anyways.
No, I mean people in general, not just
I know,
Ancaps,
I'm just messing. What I'm saying is, no, it's not gonna happen because we're gonna have, like, really awesome private security agencies to like back us up. We could pay into them, and then they're gonna like have a lot because like we have like such an amazing free market. They're gonna have like multiple competing ones, and then from all around, and then like if one of them decides to attack the other, like one, then they would have like signed agreements with each other that if one attacks one, then they would come out of nowhere and just like attack them, you know, and protect them, and then we would have perpetual peace from here to eternity, and we would have no intellectual property patents, so we would have like recreational nukes.
Recreational nukes. Okay, I think you're full of shit, bro. Sorry. That's garbage. I don't think you can like that's even remotely achievable.
I think it's very achievable. I don't see why you're such a negative Nancy.
I am a negative Nancy because I don't see how it's like. I feel like you're just being a contrarian, you know?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm very contrary to the state. I don't like the state.
The state is what protects you, though.
They don't protect me. They violate my rights. They steal my money.
Yeah, for protection. Like you can live peacefully.
What if I don't want their protection? What if I don't want them to blow up children in the Middle East?
Do you live there?
I mean,
no.
Do you love children?
Does it matter?
It matters because it's different states.
So what?
So
I just find it.
Those are innocent people.
I just find it really sketchy that you love
They're innocent
children.
people.
Each state will be more complicit or less complicit in the
Yeah, but not the civilians.
So you're saying they're all equally complicit?
No, I said not the civilians.
Sure, but within each state, say for instance, the difference between China, Israel, and say Taiwan or Japan, there's going to be a difference in complicit, right? And in the way they contribute to what you think is the most heinous of crimes.
I mean, that's a different topic than anarcho-capitalism. That's completely different. And there's no end. Like, this is a dead-end subject. Everyone's complicit in everything.
Then why are you here? Why are you in the debate and Ancap Discord? If you know what I'm saying?
No. I'm saying what Beautiful is proposing. It's a dead-end topic.
I'm talking about a hierarchy. So there's going to be people that are more complicit and less complicit.
Well, I'm saying that I don't want my money to go to kill other innocent people in other countries.
Why do you want me to leave?
I don't want you to leave. I'm just saying, like, why are you like you're like, oh, this is like a dumb topic, but I'm just like, why are you here then?
No. I'm saying it's not relevant to the anarcho-capitalist topic. I'm saying it's a dead-end topic because everyone is somewhat complicit on some level in everything. So, like, but what you're saying is civilians don't have anything to do with it because, like, you didn't make your decision. But Beautiful is countering that by saying, like, it's different in each country, and it's a dead-end topic because I don't think democracy is real, and I think governments operate outside of the population. That's why I don't think there's an end or like a consensus to this argument.
I wouldn't say that civilians are complicit for what their government does because they pay taxes, because the state forces you to pay taxes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So then you're not complicit, then, you know. So.
Am I glitching? Am I glitching?
No.
Okay, that was exactly what I was saying.
I know, I'm agreeing with you.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. So why do you hate me so much?
I don't hate you. I never said I hated you. What would make you think that?
Okay, listen, under your system, it's gonna evolve into the current system in some years, alright? That's what I think. And nothing will convince me otherwise. Yes.
Go read some books on Ancap. It will. That'll convince you.
Like, your only argument is that people are more educated now than they were in the past, but we are still people. Right? So it's not gonna.
I'm not sure when I ever made that argument.
Your only possible rebuttal is that people are more educated now than they were before when the concept of countries emerged.
No, never said that.
I mean, no. I'm imagining your.
What I was saying was that, well, how we can achieve an anarcho-capitalist society is by just convincing more people. about the non-aggression principle?
That's not realistic.
I mean, maybe with you, negative being such a negative Nancy over here, you know.
Why are you misgendering me? I'm a guy.
It's a saying.
I'm not a Nancy. Anyway, yeah, it's not realistic, you know. Like how you take some homeless guy on the street and talk to him about the concept of non-aggression, and he'll like go, "Oh wow, that's deep,
Yeah,
bro."
but we don't need to convince every individual person. We just need to convince enough people to make the difference.
All right, okay.
You know, and we can start a militia, and then we can build Ancapistan.
Based.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be great, bro. Just watch my YouTube videos, and you'll see. You'll.
Oh, you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, and you're on it right now.
Link it on the fucking side chat.
Yeah, sure. Give me a sec.
I'm on it. How many views does it have? 5?
Maybe less than that. Let me see. Side chat. There we go. Paste. Here's the link.
All right, thanks. I mean, I don't think it's fruitless to talk about these ideas, because usually, even if you don't see any results in your lifetime, these ideas do still kind of live on. So I'm not entirely pessimistic about changing society, you know?
I think we should, man. Because I think the state violates our rights every day by forcefully extracting our wealth. And we need to stand up against the government and its treacherous violations of property rights by forcing us to give up money to pay for single mothers.
That's based.
And their welfare. Hog
That's
Froggy,
based.
thanks so much for subscribing. I'm so disappointed you haven't been subscribed this whole time.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna subscribe.
I'm just kidding, bro. I'm just kidding, bro. Now you gotta make up for it by watching every one of my videos back to back and linking every one of them.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Got you. And then give me 10 push-ups.
Yo, what's up, guys?
What's up,
Hello.
dudes?
Yo. So, I don't know how long you've been doing this for, but I'm curious. Like, I don't want you to have to, like, re-explain everything again, but depends where you're at, I guess. I'm curious what anarchist, what is it? Capitalism?
Ancap? Anarcho-capitalism? Anarcho-capitalist?
So it's non-violent, like small government, no government, small government or
No government. Small government would be minarchist. So just to give a brief explanation for you, a anarcho-capitalist, well, anarchy is without rulers, no rulers, and then capitalism is free exchange of goods and services between private property owners. So we believe in no state and capitalism.
So then who enforces like laws and stuff?
Private security, militias.
Kind of like reminds me of like what kind of like a little bit how South Africa runs, where you're not really gonna get actual protection from the government. So a lot of people do private security stuff. Is that kind of like?
I mean, if what you're saying is true, then yeah, it could be similar to that. Yeah, I don't know much about South Africa myself, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's kind of like just very dangerous. And if you want justice, you literally have to hire someone.
So basically, everything the state does would be basically privatized, and it would be much cheaper, much more available. It would be competition and an abundance of resources.
How do you prevent monopolies from forming and things like?
cryptic.
Well, there's no such thing as a natural monopoly. Monopolies only form when you have a state, because that's the because they could use the state to create laws such that inhibit their competition from competing with them, such as occupational licensing laws, intellectual property laws, patents, minimum wage laws, zoning laws. Those are all laws that basically make it illegal for you to, or make it much more costly to compete with other businesses. That basically limits the amount of businesses that are able to compete with each other. That's why if you look at, for instance, like the medical market, I don't think it's at all a coincidence that it's one of the most monopolistic businesses in America, but it's also the most highly regulated business in America. I don't think that's a coincidence at all. The reason.
I just realized the economic aspect of Ancap is, and capitalist economic belief is only secondary to how interesting you think policing would look like. Do you have ideas on what government actually looks like for military?
What would most likely happen is the insurance agencies within your areas would most likely have men on standby, or reservist men in which they can call, in which they pay a salary if, say, things get really out of hand, where they need to get people to fight in some sort of large military. There would also be militias. Also, it wouldn't be illegal for you to own your own weapons neither, because in Ancapistan you would be allowed to own your own weapons or 3D print your own weapons. So it would be very hard to invade us.
How large of a? So there is a form of government.
Whatever they need.
Or a militia.
There's governance, but it wouldn't be a state.
How large would this be?
As large as it needs to protect us. It would probably inflate or deflate depending on whatever the market desires.
How large? Imagine how large.
I can only predict. It's not something that exists in
reality.
reality.
There's 300 some million some people in the U.S. So I assume
it would be pretty big.
Even if there were 1 million people in your imaginary colony here, and there was I don't know how many. Even if you had a military of 10,000, that would be pretty relevant in terms of geopolitical militias, right? I don't see any scenario in which the society would actually be thriving without a substantial government like we have in modern typical societies, right? That have
I completely disagree. Yeah, I would completely disagree, and the reason why that is because private companies are always going to be more efficient than the state because of the economic calculation problem.
Name one country that operates under this system that is substantial in the world. And don't say the Netherlands, because realistically speaking, if every other country, because if every other country, right, became Ancap, then we probably take over Netherlands.
And I
right?
don't have any real world examples of anarcho-capitalism. No.
Syria.
In the real world, that most small countries would just be cannibalized, right? Because without a substantial government like we have in every modern and substantial society, a huge reason that there are these massive governments is because they can operate militaries of this size required, right? It requires
so you could see the same thing with a private company. The reason why is because they wouldn't have the hurdle of the economic calculation problem that would make them as efficient as a state would be. Because fundamentally, the reason why when you look at private companies, why they're so much more efficient than any business, that's when the USSR tried to run grocery stores, they had a whole bunch of bread lines. The reason why is when you have the state taking control over the economy, they basically take whole control over the means of production. When you don't have private property owners within the means of production, you don't have trading of the means of production. When you don't have trading of the means of production, you don't have prices. And without prices, there's no real economic calculation. Without economic calculation, you're not able to economize. So that's the reason why businesses are able to see why how much people want for at what quantity. They generally could tell, and the reason why is because they have prices. They could look at how much other businesses and what their the goods of their services in which they're selling, what is being sold and what is not being sold. They could see, they could make profit and loss calculations based on that. But with the state,
there's no question
they don't have,
it would be more economical, right? This concept of and capitalistic society would be more like free, like there'd be more free market, right? And there'd be more accountability within the market, but there'd be far less like capacity to organize like the military protection, right, of these countries. I mean, they require
because
millions
the military is something that is a service that could be provided, and that is something that is in demand. People need a military in order to protect themselves, and there's a lot of people in that area that also need protection. So as opposed to everyone just paying for a military themselves, they could split the bill amongst hundreds of millions of people who are paying for competing private firms, who will then compete to make who bring the price of protection to as low as they can, so that they can compete with other ones, so that they can stay ahead of the other competition. Whereas right now, the state is not even at war right now, and spends billions and trillions of dollars on the military.
So what if China just buys your military though, and then takes over your country or whatever? Because some other society is. Well, sure, but you're choosing to sell out your military for the highest bidder. So any other entity with more money who chooses to operate outside of your
but the highest bidder will do the best
can
job.
Just buy your military, right, and then take over your.
But the person who takes the highest bid the lowest bid is going to be the person who does the best job. So, if we buy somebody who if we're giving money to a person whose job it is to protect us, well then they're gonna and if they don't protect us and we die, they're not gonna make any money at all. So that they're gonna do everything they can to make sure that we're not gonna be killed. So if we have a whole bunch of those in an area, well then you're gonna expect them to have a really, really hard time taking over. I mean, in another example of something similar to this is like the United Nations. The United Nations is a whole bunch of countries, right? That if one country gets invaded, then all those other countries are going to group together to sort of protect that one nation, right? It could work similar to, say, like a bunch of private companies. They could have like signed agreements with each other that if one decides to, or another country, outside force or inside force, decides to go crazy and start harming people, well then they'll group together and
you're thinking of NATO. By the
all
way,
of these,
not
all of these militias.
Something, you know what I mean.
Talking about NATO, just mentioned. They only work because because NATO isn't something you can buy. You can't buy you can't buy armies like that. If you could buy armies like that, then China would all be over here and they would operate.
Where do they get? Those people, those militaries get paid. Those people in the military get paid.
But they can't be bought by China. They can't be bought by Iran. You can't just buy like soldiers out of NATO and then just take over France because you bought France's militia. If you were to begin,
the reason why that is because they want to. They understand that if they were bought, then those people would turn around and invade and do some fucked up shit. So their interest is to protect the people within their country because they know it being bought out would fuck them over. Same thing with a private company, right? If they knew that getting bought out by an outside force would lead to them getting invaded by the outside force, well then they're going to do what they can to stick with the people who are paying them and aren't going to invade.
No. They can just be part of China and be wealthy because they were paid out. Each person.
They're part of the country that's being invaded.
You're paying them sufficient amounts to be okay with
so
that.
So then why doesn't China invade the NATO right now?
Yeah, because you can't buy NATO because it's not an Ancapitalistic society. There's no militia to buy.
You can't buy in the sense. What do you mean by buy them? Like if you
You
can
cannot
offer
buy NATO soldiers. You cannot buy like 100,000 NATO soldiers who live in France because the NATO soldiers who live in France, they're like French.
Yeah, but you could pay 100. You could go to a bunch of people in that country and pay them to fight for you, right?
Well, sure, but we're talking about an Ancap society, right? Where your entire militia is not a government, right? It's a paid like entity. You're paying them specifically for a service, but you yourself and everyone in your community is like not a government. So you're just paying them for protection, right? So that means that they have no ties whatsoever except for capital, right? They only have money tying themselves to you.
Yeah, but again, that assumes that the countries that you're talking about aren't also motivated by money either.
They're very much motivated by money, and they're also very motivated by the fact that you own land, and the only thing that's holding your society together is money. And your militia can be bought in by money, and your land is only as protected as the amount of money you have to pay the militia to protect you is, which is not very much, right?
I mean, that's
because
assuming.
you're a small libertarian like group of people.
Again,
so
that's
like
assuming
China,
that you're. Again, that's assuming that there wouldn't be competing firms that would, join together and stomp out that group that decides to take that bribe.
Yeah, they just have to be the size of China, right? Or China's economic output, right?
Not necessarily.
Well, I mean, if you want your...
I mean, Russia is invading Ukraine right now, and they're having a really, really hard time, and that's a much smaller country. So what we could do is we could use guerrilla warfare. We could group together, create militias. We could 3D print weapons because, we don't have patents. We don't have any gun restrictions to stop people from, restricting our gun rights. So yeah, it would be very hard to invade Ancapistan.
I mean, sure, but do you want to risk that?
Yes, I do. I want to risk it.
Economic freedom.
Yes, I want to risk it. I want to risk it. Sometimes you got to risk it to get the biscuit. Sorry.
How many people do you think an armored personnel carrier could take out in Pakistan?
Say that again?
How many people do you think an armored personnel carrier could take out in Ancapistan?
I don't know. A lot?
Yeah.
Not if we have our own, though.
Yeah, but why would you automatically assume that you're going to have the same infrastructure that a military
we can't copy a boat?
It's not a boat. It's the wheeled vehicle. But I'm saying...
Wait, you're talking about the big boat?
No, APC, armored personnel vehicle. I guess
it could be a boat,
but that's not referred to.
We can't copy a tank.
It's not a car. It's not about copying. It's about this is what
we could just steal one and then we could just copy it and then
steal one from who?
From the opposite side.
With what?
With our guns.
With just your guns?
Yeah, we're gonna have a bunch of guns because it's Ancapistan. There's no gun restrictions.
Okay, having a bunch of guns. I don't
tanks.
know if you've
We're gonna have tanks too.
Why would you have a bunch of tanks? Where are you gonna get the tanks?
We're gonna buy them. Because there's no tank restrictions.
From who are you gonna buy these tanks from?
Tank builders.
Who?
Tank builders.
There's all the tank builders exist.
You can buy tanks.
Yes, you can buy a tank. You can buy a tank.
I think this is a little bit of a silly
What do you want me to
concept.
answer? How do you want me to answer the question? You want me to list off private companies that make tanks? Is that what you want me to say?
No, I'm not saying. No, that's not what I'm implying. What I'm trying to get around to this conversation is the fact that this military apparatus that is in these governments is there mostly specifically for the premise of defense because of the complexities that are surrounding it. The whole reason why the United States budget is so fucking crazy is not because of a little bit is because we charge
economic calculation problem.
Yeah, that's great. But it's also maintenance. It's maintenance of these vehicles. It's funding training for these vehicles. It's bringing in professionals to maintain these vehicles and to keep these vehicles in service for what we're paying the money for. So the defense budget
Why couldn't a private
compensates
company
for
do
that.
that?
Because they're incredibly inefficient in actual military operations. This is
disagree.
just true.
I disagree.
Okay, give me one private military that
They do have
has
private.
like won a war.
Dude, there's private militaries that won wars before.
Which one?
If there was I mean, hold on, let me look up. Let me go on ChatGPT.
Okay.
I mean, the point in here is
Give me
that
examples
the
of
US
private militaries that have won wars. List them off.
Like on their own.
I think the point is a little bit more silly than that, and you can simplify it.
Executive
here. The
outcomes,
government is
Southern
just
Africa,
a massive military
mid-1990s.
that
Wagner
No,
Group, various global theater.
you
Other
cannot
notable
have an
MPOCs.
ANCAP society because like government is just
Blackwater
a massive
and
military
Ancap-
with additional like social services tied onto it. Like for most of
charity.
history at least, and especially the U.S., like it's just
Charities.
a massive military.
Charities go do that.
But yeah, what you were listing off were just private military groups. You weren't naming wars that they've won.
Yeah, but the reason why they listed them is because they won wars.
No, that's not. No, it's because they partook in wars that were won. That is what, like the Wagner Group specifically. The Wagner Group specifically has never
bro.
participated in a
Okay,
war
bro.
by itself.
Okay,
Like
bro.
this is just basic.
Okay, bro.
Basic like military history.
Got you. All right, I gotta
never
go, guys.
operated
I gotta
alone.
go soon, so I'm gonna give you guys
Okay.
the last word. Go ahead.
Yeah. This is dumb. All right. Bye.
All right. Any last words? Meroving, whatever. All right.
I just think it's a bit of a silly argument because I think any sufficiently large and organized government is just a massive military with additional like social benefits tied onto it. And if you try to change it in any other way, then you just simply have a government that can be bought out. And if it can be bought out, then there's no like purpose of it being there's no solidarity. Like no matter how large it is, if the military aspect can just be paid and bought out, then you'll never actually have a real country or like free market because you're not free. You're only as free as you have money to be free, right? Like I mean, I don't see the purpose. Like no matter how, if you're a country the size of like the Netherlands, but your paid militia costs like $10 billion to buy, then all of a sudden you're not the free Netherlands with a free society that can pay a militia. You're just however much your militia costs, and then any other huge country just goes buys your militia and then takes over your land and then says, "Oh, you don't have a free market. What free market?" And then they just take over your whole society. I think that's why we have non-viable militias. That's called the government. That has a military.
Gotcha. All right, man. I'm going to bed. Have a good night, man.
Hey, you have a good night too.
All right, that was fun. I'll see you guys all later.